Hi everyone. How you doing? Oh, wait. Hi everyone. Let me try that again. How you doing? How's everyone tonight? Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. While we're waiting for people, did anything happen in the news? I had like to make a choice of whether to prepare or put on makeup or watch what's going on in the news, and I clearly prepared because I'm a nerd. Hi Harlot. So I have all my notes. So there we go, because I'm a nerd and I write them out like I'm old school. Well, print them out rather. I know I do have so much. I don't need to do all of it, but it's just, you know what I did? It's not as much as it looks like because the one only printed on one side. Oh no, they all printed on one side. That's why. So it's not as much as it looks like. Oh my God, Harlot, I am so mad that I didn't use my new intro. So you know that I'm gonna still do it. I don't know what I was thinking. Again, I had minimal time and I'm like, oh shit, I'm running out of time. And I just came, and you're absolutely right. I was like, as soon as I hit start, I was like, oh my God. But I'm going to go in and show you guys because I worked hard on it. Okay, let's see. I have to change the, I have a different cover for it. I don't know why. It just picks whatever it wants out of the video. And that's what it picked. Hold on, let's see. Before I put it on, let me just make sure that everybody's saying. Okay, you guys, so this is my new, not a lot happened in the news. Oh, a lot happened in the news. You'll have to let me know. So much in the news. Oh, well, you'll have to let me know. Anything in the Guthrie case or anything? All right, you guys, so this is my new intro that I just didn't play tonight because I don't know why. So here it goes.
Open tabs, margin notes, highlighter, bleed through quotes, research mind, steady eye patterns only she can note. I-90 fog, whispering under wheels, skyline, afterglow, 2 states, packed rooms, quiet minds that know, no sign needed out front. They circle to a voice, questions rise before she starts, curiosity by choice. She pivots mid-lecture, checks who's leaning in close. Say the part you skip out loud, that's where the learning goes. Heads home with the speakers up, Biggie in the background, mind still mapping theories while the city slows down. She teaches the why behind the crime, the hurt behind the face, Philly in her backbone, psychology in her grace. Don't let the hype fool you, she stands 10 stories tall. She don't just teach the lesson, she teaches you through it all. Late nights with case files open, notes in the margin glow. She's showing you your story's roots so you can choose where to go. Yeah. Biggie quotes inside the slides right next to coping skills. Spread love between the lines of how a nervous system feels. Long days, quiet grit, humor in the punchlines. You are more than this moment. Written 10 times, old assessments in a folder, ink dust on the sleeve. She can map anxious attachment before you know you grieve. 1 foot in Jersey lecture halls, 1 on the Philly street. Home is where she learned to fight, classes where we don't repeat. Grown kids texting check-ins, pride she doesn't post. She teaches minds all day, then goes in mother's most. Case files, true crime, mind behind the scenes. She doesn't tell you what they did, she shows you what it means. Your story is not your diagnosis. You are allowed to rewrite it.
So I'm dying to know what you guys think, of course. Hi, Truth. I seen you came in. How you doing? This is like a mod reunion over here. What's up, Explore Court? Literally, we're having a mod reunion. Harlot's here. Cuff you. Oh, look, a squirrel. We're literally just missing. Who are we missing? We're missing Sarah, Barbara, and Mark the Shark. But the rest of you are here. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. That song is super chatty. What does that mean, Harlot? Catchy. Oh my god, I thought you said chatty. I literally read it backwards. I'm like, chatty, what does it mean? You said catchy. Oh my god. See, I told you. I'm like, so let me just tell all of you, I have like the worst earache ever. And I've had it for like over a week. But I'm still going to work and doing all the things. And I'm still here with you guys tonight. And I'm prepared. Okay, so let me share my slides because you know I have them too. Oh, I didn't realize it keeps all my old slides too. File must be... Dude, shut up, it is. Hold on. Alright, it's not going to do it that way, so I just have to share my screen. Which is no big deal. I know how to do that. Alright, here we go. So hopefully everybody's doing good. Share. Okay, so, well, let me show you this real quick. So I made other, where are they at? Let me show you mine. You're gonna laugh. Okay, let me show you this real quick. Oh, wait, let me take this one off. And let me show you this. So this is what I did. This is mine, okay? So this is what I did. And the other one that we're going to be looking at is ChatGPT. They made it different colors. I'm hoping that they kept everything else the same. But if I didn't ask for their help, it would just look like this. And that's just so boring. I hope you guys are seeing the same thing I am. I think you are. Yes, you are. So instead of showing you that one, we're going to show you this one. So this is the same thing, or at least it's supposed to be the same thing. So I guess we're about to find out. But anyway, so that's why I ask like ChatGPT to help me, because if not, you guys would literally get the most basic, and you have gotten the most basic before. So let's see, slideshow. Why does it put the slides on the side? I don't know why it does that. And how do I get it to not do that? Why don't I know? I should know. Anyway. Slideshow. I'm just leaving it the way it is. Okay, you guys. So, how's everyone doing? Hopefully you're all good. Oh, there you go. Look, I did it. And then look, I can make it bigger over here. See, I'm learning. Although I should know how to do this. I teach college. So I do know how to do this. Just don't tell anybody I forgot for a second. I was having a straight A stupid moment. Okay. So, excuse me. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Today, we will be looking at the Epstein documents through an analysis archive, not to speculate, accuse, or sensationalize, nor will I be I know I have to say this all the time, you guys, I apologize. I'm not going to be diagnosing anyone. I'm going to be basing everything off of my 22 years of experience teaching at the college and university level and in psychology and abnormal psych, which is psychopathology. So that's what I use. So I use behavior analysis to hypothesize, or to analyze rather, what I'm seeing. Okay? So hi Addie. Welcome in, Addie. Who else is here? I'll go through it in a second. So welcome in, welcome in. Okay, so the purpose of this series, it examines Epstein-related documents through a psychological lens. So the focus is on patterns and institutional responses rather than, well, it'll be on some individuals, but we're not going to be focusing. The reason I wrote that was I wanted to put out there that we're not, there's like, you'll see, we're going to go to this one website where there's like all the names of people that are in there. So when I said rather than individuals, what I really meant there specifically was, for example, like you might see Chris Rock or something as one of the names, but there is, I don't know, did I just make that up? One of them are in there. Like there's a few that are in there, but they don't think that, these guys had anything to do with anything. they might have just been, everybody had to sign in when they went somewhere that, so if he had a party or something that they've been to, you know what I mean? So that's all. So just keep that in mind. Okay. And then what I have here is, here we go. So the focus, I said that. So public records are used to understand how harmful systems persist. And this is an important part for me. I got my doctorate in in education, but I did my dissertation in psychology, which my bachelor's and master's and specialization are all in, and what I teach in. So I thought it was important when I got my education, that part of my degree, I learned about psychology through a different lens. So I learned about it through academia, and I specialized like in higher education. So I learned a lot about our systems, because a lot of higher education has to do with how our systems were created from the very beginning. So understanding how harmful systems persist is the only thing that will get, everyday people like you and me annoyed enough about them that we're willing to change them in some way. If anybody has any questions at any point, just please let me know in the comments and I will be happy to answer them. Put emojis or something so that way I say it. So what is this and what it's not? Oh, also I just wanted to say, as a research psychologist, my role here is not to tell you who to believe, but to help you understand how power, silence, and normalization work in real life. So that's a big part of this for me. And then also the conversation will stay evidence-based, trauma-informed, and ethical. If you're here for listed names, this may not be the space for you. If you're here to understand how this was allowed to happen, you're in exactly the right place. So we're going to go over how this was allowed to happen. And we're going to see, just like with things like bullying, right? It's going to be a lot more simple than, there's complex things, obviously, but simple in the sense that bullying, for example, is about power and control. And so is a lot of the stuff that we're going to see here, as far as like coercion. You'll see, there's just so much here, you guys. There's so much here that somebody could start a Jeffrey Epstein channel and have enough content for the next 20 years. There's literally so much. So, I feel like you could watch so many different creators and get so many different things about this. It's just crazy. Speaking of, though, tomorrow, for some of you, you may know her, Dr. Anya Schultz will be joining me at 8:30 Eastern, and she is going to go over some of this Epstein stuff with me as well. So you don't want to miss that. She hasn't been on in a while, and I know that people like Dr. Schultz, so please come see us tomorrow night. That would be amazing. She misses everyone. So let's talk about what this is, you guys, and what it's not. So let me be very clear about what we're looking at here. All right. The site that we're going to go on, it does not determine guilt. Obviously, it does not make accusations. It does not replace the legal system. What it does do is summarize large volumes of documents so we can identify repetition, language patterns, and structural themes. That's where I come in at, right? So think of this as a map, not a verdict, okay? Or think of this as like the map of the United States. It's not one specific state. So we're looking at it as a whole. And I was just using that as an analogy. We're going to see that what we looked at the first few times was the Department of Justice's, that's who it was, Chris Tucker. Thank you, Explore Corps. But again, nobody thinks that he did anything wrong. It's just that his name appeared. He could have been hired to be, to do an act one night at a party or something, and that's how he gets on the list. So just know that when you see everybody's names here, that it doesn't necessarily mean that these people had anything to do with anything. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we are also going to see that some of the new sites that are out, there's been enough time now since the document dump. I believe it was on the 31st, right? The 30th or 31st. It was like at the very end of the month. And since then, there's 3 million plus documents, but since then there's been people who have like teams of people who have worked together, and they've created sites to make it a little bit easier for you and me to go through, because when you go through the Department of Justice files, it's literally like it'll say like file 10 or whatever, but there's like a million things. There's just so much. So I went through 2 different ones, and they're very helpful, and we're going to look at them. Cuff You sent me one of them, and then I saw one of them. So I don't know, Cuff You, if you ever, I sent you back the link to the one that I saw, but they're very similar. And I think that it's great that people are sharing it with other people and not putting it, behind a paywall. So there are some that want to put it. Just remember that if you want to get anything Epstein related, that you could at least go to the Department of Justice website, and you could type in the search engine and see if you can find whatever you're looking for yourself first. Okay, so all right, we're not going to, it's not speculation or sensationalism. I just have to say a lot of these things, you guys, because it's just how I feel. So let's go to the next thing. So why psychology matters. Okay, psychology explains how, like I was saying before, how behavior continues within powerful systems. So not just the systems, because that's what I was talking about on the other side, how the systems can be powerful, but this is how the people within those systems also run. And you're going to see that systems work within systems that work within systems, if that makes any sense. Language, silence, and normalization are predictable outcomes. This is the thing, the best predictor of future behavior is past relevant behavior, right? So things like language, silence, and normalization, these are all going to be predictable. If somebody is normalizing certain behavior that we're going to see, and you'll see what I mean by normalization. So let me give you an example. Let's say you come over my house, and I'm going to be paying you like, a good amount of money to, I don't know, clean the house or whatever every week, right? And I'm giving you enough money that you're like, absolutely, I'll do it. So you come over, and again, this is just, please, this is an example, not me for real. But let's say I had like all of this stuff all over the walls, and I had statues that you have to clean that are like naked bodies, and there's so much art that is naked bodies, right? But this is assuming that this is put out there in a different way to normalize it, and that you would have been handpicked as somebody. So I would have offered you specifically, and again, not me specifically, but I would have offered the person specifically a certain amount of money or something that I knew that they couldn't refuse because I wanted them specifically. And we're going to see, and I might say allegedly a lot, and again, just because I need to like cover my ass, like we're talking about powerful families here, and I don't need any recourse that way, because then I really can't do nothing with you guys. So let's keep going. What else do I want to say here? I'm going to, oh wait, hold on. I'm not going to speculate about individuals who have not been charged or convicted. That's not ethical, and it's not psychologically sound. What is appropriate and incredibly important is discussing the roles, behaviors, and systems. If we want to speculate, that's really not what I'm here to do. I'm here for an analysis. So hopefully you're at the right show. That hopefully you're here at the right place. Oh, also we're going to see how these processes, okay, so language, silence, and normalization, like I was saying, are predictable outcomes, but we're also going to see how processes like language, silence, and normalization also delay recognizing and holding people accountable for these actions. And you see that so much, in my opinion, in the Epstein files, and I haven't even gone through a fraction of them. So, I just can't imagine. I need to find, if any of you know Epstein's girlfriend's name, she's one of the people that I wanted to look up, because I did think that it was interesting that we talk a lot about Ghislaine, and as we should, but who's this girl? And he was going to leave her all that money and stuff. Like, she had to be someone important, right? He was going to leave her like a 30 carat, what was it, 30 carats? I was like, okay. I couldn't even imagine what that looked like. That would be like 15 of these. It would be a lot. It would be a whole lot. I couldn't imagine. I would like to try, but I couldn't imagine. So, okay, you guys. Is there any questions so far? Maybe I should check in real quick and see if there's any questions. If you have any questions for me. Right, wait, let me see. Let me get to the chat. Do something strange for a piece of change, right? Hey, but what are you saying? How are you? Yes, truth. They are sick effers. Casey's here. I didn't realize I was live either, Casey. No, I'm just kidding. I just came live tonight. I didn't know if I was going to or not because my ear is killing me. So if I turn the camera off at some point tonight, it's probably because I probably need eardrops again. And I don't want to do the live like this. So I'm still going to do it, but I'm going to do it like this for a little bit. But I'm going to wait a little. I'm trying to hold out. But it hurts so bad that it has like its own heartbeat. Have you ever had like that where something hurts so bad it's like it's got its own heartbeat? That's what's happening. And now the other one's starting to hurt. I can't. Oh. Okay. Harlot, thank you for telling me that. Harlot says, if you can do the tiles without putting Epstein in there, you'll probably get more traffic. Oh, that makes sense. So wait, I wonder what would happen if I wonder if I could even do it now. I was going to say if I went in and took down the thumbnail, but it's okay. But I know for next time. So for tomorrow, I'll change the thumbnail because I have it in there for tomorrow too. And I don't want, especially with Dr. Schultz here, I want to give her a good experience. So, go ahead. You have a question? Oh, you're saying if you have a question. Oh my God, Explorer. We should be able to find out who does internet criminal media, who is watching us. We should be able to find out. Hi, Diane, let me say hi to you before I read your thing. Who does internet criminal media? Who is watching us? These people use our own private info at their hands. If people can do background checks, oh my God, all about you for a job, or you want to die, Diane? So, I stopped paying for it lately, but because my kids now are 18 and 22, so I feel like if I didn't teach them by now how to like, I don't know. I just feel like if I didn't teach them by now, that's just on me. But before, when they were under 18, I paid $40 every 3 months for the site. Oh, what was it called? It was called, my kids called it my creep app. Oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, it's one of the sites that you can like purchase a membership. And then, because this is the thing, I did one background thing and it was like $20. And I was like, oh wait, for 40, I could get it for 3 months, anybody I want. So I was like, sign me up. And then I just kept going and going and going. And then I had to stop the madness at some point. But now that I do YouTube, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to get it again. But Diane, you literally can type in yourself. You could type in everybody you know. And it gives you their record, their marriage, if they've been married or divorced, death certificates if they're not living with us anymore. It'll tell you how sure it is that you found the right person, da da da. But anyway, you can do all the things that you just said plus more just by having a subscription. Oh, hi Birdie. How you doing? Let's see. Oh, that was so cool, Case. I'm glad. Maybe you should get rest for tomorrow night. You guys, I'm good. No, ear pain sucks, Wendy, doesn't it? Hi, Sky. Hi, Wendy. Oh my God, you guys. You guys are great. A. Higgins is here. Team Dice is here. Who else is here? Oh my God, you guys. There's so many of you. I love you. Jersey Devil. Jersey Devil. We might have to fight. Because I'm definitely a Flyers fan. But I love New Jersey. I can't even lie. So when I die someday, I'm going to die. My dead body's going to be in New Jersey. So I might as well be nice to a fellow New Jerseyan. So there you go. Jersey Devil, you are more than welcome. But the Flyers, I'm just saying, you know? Okay, what else do we have here? And I could like take it too. If you want to dish it back out, I could take it. What else do we have here? Oh my God, you guys, this is great. If you can do, okay, yeah, I'm going to do the tiles thing. That was a good idea. I went backwards by accident. A wise woman's here. Hey, all my friends are here, you guys. I'm so excited. I sound like such a nerd, I'm sure. But see, who wants to lay in bed with an earache when I could be on here talking to you guys with an earache? Either way, I have an earache, right? That's how I look at it. It's not going nowhere. And they gave me like drops and antibiotics, and like nothing's working. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, there's something wrong with my ear. Let's see. Oh, what's her name? Karina? Oh my God, Jersey Devil. See, you know what, Jersey Devil? Shame on me because you're the one that just gave me the name. And I'm talking shit. So I like you, Jersey Devil. You're good. And you're beautiful too. Look at you, okay? So this is her name, you guys. We have to remember her name. So her name is Karina. You know what? Let's see if... Let me open this up real quick. And I just want to write her name, or you can like, well, I'll show you in a minute, but you can put her name in, wait, last name is an S. I'm just going to see. Oh no, they did it in first names. That's weird. So K. Oh wait, I thought I just found her and got excited, but I didn't. Hold on. But if I see her, I'm going to click on her so that when we do click over, she is the first one. Why is her name not in there? Huh. That's shady now. K-R-Y-N-A. And all they have here is K-A-R-Y. Car Anthalis or something. And then that's it. So they don't have this girl's name in here. But I swear I'm going to look her up in the Department of Justice one. Because... I believe, right, that she's part of the files. So now I'm just curious, you guys. I'm just going to throw her name in so I know that you guys aren't looking at this. I just want to put her name in there so that I don't forget. I'm not a robot. What the heck? Okay. Yes, I'm 18. No, I'm not 18. All right. Library. K-A-R-Y... N-A. I probably could just do that. Oh, let's see. Oh, there's a ton. Thank you, Jersey Devil. She's in data set 9, 10, 11. And then it goes on for a long time. Thank you, Jersey Devil. So wait, I wonder why they don't have her in the one database. Cuff you. I wonder if that she's in the other one, but she's not on one of them. Like one of the ones that you and I sent back and forth. I don't know which one it was. Just graduated the dentist program. Wait, did you just say she just graduated? That shit was so intentional. They are obsessed with dentistry, so people couldn't be identified. Oh my God. Hey Higgins, that's such an interesting point. So what I took it as, and this is the thing, you guys, so I said no speculation, but we got to like a little bit, not speculate, but hypothesize really about what we think things could mean. And that is interesting. What I took it as was that if he was in love with this girl, I saw him, because if anybody doesn't know, there was on Epstein Island, I believe it was there one in his New York apartment too, or New York townhouse too? Does anyone know? Did I get to look at the one you sent? A Wise Woman. Did you send it to my email? Let me just look and see. But while I look that up, I thought in my head, I'm like, you know what? Could it be that he put that in there because he was trying to like keep her around and like impress her? So by doing that, then I was reading things and she seemed like she was pretty into him. So I was like, maybe he didn't have to like keep her around like that. So I am interested to see what we're going to find out. But I was thinking to keep her around, he was like, you know what? I think, because I believe he paid for her schooling. So then I was thinking, well, that kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Hold on. A Wise Woman. I'm looking you up. Is that the name of the email I'm looking up? Because then it says no Wise Woman. So A Wise Woman. Let me see. How can I see which email you are? But I'm so glad you told me about not adding the Epstein thing in like the name. That was actually so smart. Okay, so let's do a couple more of these slides. I know I never get to all the slides. And then we'll do a couple more of these, and then we'll go into one of the sites, and then we can always go back if we want. So, and this will be like a precursor to tomorrow with Dr. Schultz. As of right now, I told her to look up anything that had to do with the island. So that, hi Ramona. I told her to look up that stuff because there was so much. She was like, what should I focus on? And I'm like, and then I just said, I don't know, the island. So we were like, okay, so that is like such a huge topic that I need to narrow that down too. So we'll see what happens. But I guess this will be like, you know. Yes, she did explore core. I bet you. I didn't do a hashtag for it, but you're right. That probably would do the same thing. But I wonder if it's also because it's in my, like it's in the, you know what? It's funny that you say this because my Epstein lives, they don't necessarily get a ton of people while I'm live, but then they'll get, like, I'll get people afterwards. So somebody was saying about, I think it was Harlot that said that they won't like necessarily put the lives through like they would other things. And that makes sense to me. Makes sense. So let's just see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I'm so glad I know because for tomorrow night, like maybe this tonight then is more like us hanging out, talking about it, just, you know, shooting the shit and me kind of practicing for what I'm going to do tomorrow night. But I will rearrange it completely tomorrow night so that I take that out. I almost want to. Hold on. I'm going to go. I already have it open since I was showing you guys my new intro. So I'm actually going to go to my live for tomorrow because I don't, like, if you let it sit, it will, it'll like start going through the algorithm. So I don't want that to happen by accident. So while we're here real quick, I'm just going to put it on, what's it called, unlist it. And then I'll go back after we're done and I'll fix it. So let me go to unlist it real quick. Oh, you guys. But I am so excited. I was looking at my YouTube analytics, you guys, and everybody has been so kind to me. And I'm just so happy that I have all of you guys. I really am. I can't even articulate how much you all mean to me. Okay, so I just made our live for tomorrow unlisted, so you shouldn't be able to see it anymore on YouTube. And again, I did it so that I could go back after and see. So far we've had like 72 views here, which isn't, you know, the best, but it's not terrible yet. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. Oh my God, there was 95% likes. Like usually I get 98.9 or 100. So that means there had to be like a few people that did not like it so far, which is funny to me because we didn't even really do much. They were probably just looking for something more sensational, and I'm not really giving that here, and I'm okay with that. So back to our handy dandy slideshow over here, patterns over names. So let's see what I have here. So one thing that immediately stood out for me across multiple summaries is not who necessarily appeared here, but how they appeared. So like we were saying before, you might see a famous person's name, but here there's no real, like there's no malicious type connection. So, excuse me, that's why we're going to look more how the person appears. We're going to see repeated language like introduced, referred, handled, and arranged. They were words that just kept coming up over and over and over. So again, the words I found that kept repeating were introduced, referred, handled, and arranged. Think about that. Handled and arranged. Okay? And referred, just meaning that there's other people out there that are suggesting or, you know, telling other people that they think would be okay with any of the behavior, right? My God. It's so gross when you think about it like that. Because you only refer somebody if you think somebody else would like that service, right? So this kind of language, though, that of these words that I'm finding removes agency, and I want to make sure that I'm not removing anyone's agency. So it can, like, so what I mean by that is it can distance accountability, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. and I'm not trying to distance responsibility for this, but this is classic institutional framing. So again, words like introduced, referred, handled, arranged, these are all classic institutional frames that we see often, not just in these files, but in many of the systems that govern our daily lives. And even the ones that we don't think about every day too. So there are so many things that we participate in, and your head would spin if you knew some of the things that you've took place in life that you just didn't know that you were taking place in, like you weren't aware. And it happens all the time. And they're the things that continue the systems the way that they are. So systems, I wrote here, systems, oh, look at that. Look at what I wrote. I wrote systems protect themselves through hierarchy. And that is exactly right. So, you know, you have the big wigs and then the next people. And then, so you always have it, even when you look at something like a mafia, right? You have the boss and then you have the underboss and the, you know, all the different positions. But it's that same type of thing where you have a hierarchy. And it's like each level gets more power and respect over the next. And just remember, a lot of these people, they're not respected, they're feared, and there's a difference. I would much rather be respected than feared. So a lot of these people, it looks like respect, but it's really fear. That's all it is. Okay, next. Oops, hold on. Here we go. Okay, so behavioral archetypes here that we have. So I want to be very clear here. I'm not diagnosing anyone. I know I always say that. What I'm doing is identifying behavioral archetypes that appear in exploitive systems. Okay. So the connector here trades access for influence. So we're going to see different roles. So the archetypes are different roles. So I could have wrote behavioral modes, behavioral archetypes, behavioral molds, whatever you want to call them. But these are the four that I noticed here. So the connector is going to be someone that trades access for influence. Okay. So someone that trades access for influence. Then we're going to have the gatekeeper. This is the person that controls information and the logistics. Okay. So they, what did I write here? Controls information and logistics. I read the same thing. Then we have the normalizer, who minimizes harm through language and humor. Okay, humor is a big one. You'll see that, and I don't know if we'll get to this tape tonight, but some of you may have already seen it. I think Dr. G goes over it. There's a tape where the video opens up with him standing on the kitchen island, and there's he's not sure who's videotaping it. But there's reason to believe that it could be Ghislaine videoing it. And there's these two girls that sound very young, giggling, and they're running around the island trying to get away from him. So then he gets off the island, he's trying to chase them, stuff like that. And they're laughing and giggling. And my skin was crawling because all I could think about was, wow, this is like normalizing. Just tickling even, when you tickle, I don't know, there were just so many things that I saw that was just normalizing behavior that was dysfunctional behavior, and not the type of dysfunctional like I say that we put the fun in dysfunction. There was nothing fun about this dysfunction. Okay, so then we have the normalizer. So this, I just said that, I apologize. The beneficiary does nothing but profits. Okay, so they profit through inaction. The beneficiary profits through inaction. And think about that with a lot of powerful people that you know. So these powerful systems need these particular roles, right? So you need someone who has access to influence, or has access and influence. They want both. They want power. Jeffrey Epstein wanted to meet people. He wanted access to people so that he could get, more money. And again, a lot of this is alleged, but a lot of it is not. You'd have to be blind not to say it. And even blind people could see this. So, and that's where Ghislaine comes in, right? Because Ghislaine has access to all these people. She has access to princes and, heads of state. And she went to Chelsea Clinton's wedding and just everything. So, and she was looking for someone to fill the void that her father had left. So her father winds up, they said that he most likely urinated over the side of the yacht and had a heart attack or fell or something like that, which caused his passing. But some people think he was like, more of a conspiracy, like they came out and had a hit on him and stuff like that. But they said that he had like a thing for peeing off of stuff. Like he peed off of a building. I don't know. All kinds of things. Anyway, but she was like daddy's little girl. And some of the things that I was able to find, you guys, oh my God. There's 9 kids. She's the youngest of 9. And she already has one sibling that dies before she's ever born. And then 2 days after she's born, her one brother, the oldest sibling, slips into a coma for the next 7 years and then dies. But we're going to see the dysfunction within that family and how money and, money and status and power and influence, you can have all of those things and still not have a well-rounded human being that you're raising, or that, and I mean, so many of us have children that have mental illness, things like that, and they still turn out to be, able to function in society, things like that, or just to have relationships and stuff. And we're just going to see how different this is. These particular archetypes here are needed in a dysfunctional system to keep the dysfunction going. So if you don't have people that just don't say anything at all and they just turn a blind eye, think again about the bully that I was talking about in the very beginning. With the bullies, why does a bully get away with things? Because there's so many people that say nothing. And the truth is, years down the road, the victim often, or the person that was bullied growing up, when they come into therapy, they get that the bully was a piece of crap and that the bully, probably was looking for power and influence. Like they can understand all of that. What they have a hard time getting past is the fact that everyone else just stood there and watched because nobody wanted it to happen to them. So everybody just turned a blind eye. So think about it. We do these things on small levels like bullying at school. Imagine when you have endless amounts of money or endless amounts of access. And I mean, there's just so many powerful things that I think went awry here. When Ghislaine's dad passes away, Jeffrey Epstein comes in, and literally, you guys, it went from, in my opinion, a dysfunctional father-daughter relationship, almost like an enmeshment, but different in the sense that I felt like her dad was, well, I guess you could get that in enmeshment too. I feel like her dad was very calculating and almost like he was like grooming her, in my opinion, to be his little clone, if you will, just for lack of a better term, but to follow in his footsteps, right? So and there's just so many dysfunctional things that happen, but then once he passes, she feels that void, and now she needs to fill the void, and Jeffrey comes in her life, and he winds up being just as dysfunctional as far as his personality. I believe that Dad and Jeffrey Epstein probably both show behavioral patterns with someone with narcissistic personality and antisocial personality. And I think that Ghislaine, this is what I would say to you. If you were in a failed relationship, you guys, I'd ask you, okay, so all of you that are divorced, all the things, I ask you, or just, you're no longer dating somebody, or, a relationship didn't work out. My question to you is, did you choose a partner that was like the parent that disappointed you the most? Let me say that again. Did you choose someone who was like the parent that disappointed you most? And again, you probably have never thought of it that way until this moment. And it might even take a second to reflect over that and be like, no, and then be thinking about it and be like, well, maybe. And this happens all the time. And we do this subconsciously because it's almost our way subconsciously of saying, look, I can repeat the same history that you had, and let me show you I could have done it different. All to realize that history just repeats itself. What do they say? History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. That's what you usually get here. So I'm just curious of what you guys think about that, and if anybody found that they actually have picked somebody that was like the parent that disappointed them most. And I wonder if any of you are still with those people. You might be. So why everyone knew is a myth, in my opinion. Okay, so we have emotional regulation here that we need to talk about. So if you are feeling angry or overwhelmed right now, that would make sense, right? So what you're experiencing is called a moral injury. Where do we know that term from? Dr. John. So this is the distress that comes from realizing that harm occurred within systems meant to protect. So I was just not joking. He really does talk about moral. I don't think he says moral injury, but he talks about moral, all the things. This here is just saying whether we're talking about a religious morality or not, just morality in general. As a kid, we see adults as people that are supposed to protect us. Your parents are supposed to protect you. Your teachers are supposed to protect you. You know, the nanny, the neighbor, the this, the that. Like, you see adults as people that you go to when you need something. So when an adult violates your expectations, it winds up shattering your thought process in many ways, for many people. Now, will there be some people that, you know, you could have siblings where one turns out like, you know, they turn out the average person, like nothing, they wind up hating the parent or the person that hurt them. But maybe that's where, as far as it goes, you could have another sibling that goes through the exact same thing, that develops multiple mental illnesses as a result. So, and a lot of that comes down to the diathesis stress model, which just looks at the interaction of biology and environment. So the one kid's biology and environment mixes differently than the other person's biology and environment, which makes it a lot different. So back to this real quick. So information is fragmented within systems. So this is a big one. We're looking at broken systems, right? Normalcy, bias, dulls, alarm. Okay, so normalcy, biases, dulls, alarm. So by normalizing sexualized things, for example, you turn that alarm system down. You're like, you know, no need for alarm, like dull it down. You don't have to worry about it. I think of it as like a dimming of the lights, if you will. So then incremental exposure delays recognition. This is a big one. I think of this way. If you think of a friend that you have that lost 30 pounds, but you see them every single day, you might not notice as much that, like, you notice they lost weight, but you're not really seeing the huge weight loss. Then you have another friend that you haven't seen in months, and when you see them, they lost 30 pounds, and you're like, oh my gosh, you look totally different, da 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 da. That would be, the first one is incremental exposure. Because you're seeing the other one on a daily basis, your brain starts to adapt to that exposure, and eventually it becomes more normal than if you just see it once in a while. I also have, I'm only going to do a few more and then we'll jump over to the other thing. So grooming beyond the individual. This is one of the big ones that we're going to see here, you guys. Let's see, what did I write here? All right, grooming. Here we go. So for this next part, we're going to look at things like why systems persist, why warning signs were ignored, and why hindsight feels so clear while foresight rarely does. So we don't often see it at that time, but we look back and we're like, well, how didn't we see that? This is not going to be a trial. It's more of a psychological autopsy of a system. So that's what I should name it on the thumbnail. A psychological autopsy of systems. So we're going to talk about things like grooming adult systems, why everyone knew is a myth, in my opinion. So one of the most common reactions to a case like this is, how did everyone not know? And psychologically, that question assumes information is evenly distributed, but that never is. So we see all of these names that, all these names that are going to appear here. Not everyone is the same level of awareness. So somebody like a Ghislaine Maxwell is not going to have the same awareness as like a Chris Tucker, right? So, the information isn't equally distributed amongst everyone. So it never is. Most people don't see the whole picture. They only see fragments. So you might see something. Think about, I don't know if you guys, this is something we should look up. Ghislaine creates a birthday card for Jeffrey one year, and it's more than a card. It's like a book. And she has everyone like that she could think of write an entry, and then she puts all of the entries together. She puts some pictures throughout to, like, you know, make it visual too, and so on and so forth. I guess they, you know, when you think about it, they probably never thought that anybody was going to find it and look at it. So now that it's been found and people are looking at it, you'll see that when you put everything together, it creates such a clear picture. But each one of these pages by itself might just seem like a weird experience or a one-off. You know what I mean? But when you see that there's that many people with one-offs or these experiences, you'll start to be like, wait a minute, is this me? Or, you know what I mean? So that's what we're going to see there. And then grooming, let me see. We'll do grooming and then I will switch over. Oh, I just did why people stay silent. So, oh no, that's the next thing. So this is what we'll do. I have so much here. So institutions can be groomed. Prestige and access create blind spots, and silence becomes normalized over time. You guys, they always say, even in addictions counseling, which I'm so proud that there are so many of you that are in sobriety. I didn't realize how many of you are in sobriety, and I'm so very proud of each and every one of you and for your loved ones that are in sobriety. And we're going to see that, you know, even with sobriety, your biggest problem there is silence. So you're only as sick as your secrets, they say, right? So things like secrets and silence. And we're going to see that the same is true in other areas of psychology, one of them being grooming behaviors. So you're going to see that silence there. Once it becomes normalized, once things are secrets, even within family systems, if secrets are a thing within your family, it winds up becoming normalized. So therefore, when there's secrets, and let's say you're dating someone new and they're like, oh damn, like, does your family always like keep secrets like this? Or, you know, do you guys always, you know, not tell each other stuff? And it's like, oh yeah, that's just how we are. Where like to you now it's normalized, but to the other person, they're like, red flag. So they're the things that we're going to see too. So grooming is not only interpersonal, it's structural. So interpersonal meaning within yourself. It's also structural. So systems are conditioned to protect what benefits them. Let me say that again. Systems are conditioned to protect what benefits them, not you, them. And that's the thing that even gets me at times. What do I always say? Like, don't try not to see yourself in other people, because that's when we tend to get hurt. For example, if I would have apologized already and you haven't, I might be thinking, well, why didn't they apologize? I would have apologized 3 times already. Well, now I'm disappointing myself because I'm seeing myself in someone else. If they're not like me, then I'm going to do nothing but disappoint myself. So we're going to see, excuse me, we're going to see here too that when systems want to benefit themselves, they know how to make offers to other people or how to create systems where they'll make, I'll give you one. In a lot of employment, even like everyday friendships and stuff, think about how many people that you talk to over the years that have said, like, you don't talk about people's money. Like, you don't ask people, how much do you make? That's rude, stuff like that. But think about that. Why is that rude? Like, who does that benefit by us keeping that secret? It benefits the person that's paying us, right? So the whole thing, that was normalized so that people like you and me weren't like, oh, cuff you, what did they start you at? Oh, they started you at 19 an hour? Oh, well, thank God, I got started at 24 an hour. And it's like, wait, you got started at... They don't want that to happen. So by making it normalized that nobody talks about how much they make, now they don't have to worry about that as much. And if somebody does talk about how much they make, now it looks bad on that person. And it's like almost like reason to get targeted in some way. So we just have to remember that these things become normalized over time. That's when you really should stop, and not you personally, just people in general, including myself. Thor, come here. You're not going out there with the fox, so come here. Come on. Come lay down. I know you want my attention, but you're going to have to wait a little bit. Go get Ava. Go get Gigi. Go ahead. They want you. I hear them. They're like, Thor, Thor. Oh my God. He wants to try to go out with the fox and it's not happening. My neighbor last night had to like come out at like 2 in the morning, or was it the night before? One of them. I don't know, but it was embarrassing. And we're not doing that again. So anyway, let's go over to, real quick, we're going to see that some of the passive language, when we pull this up, we're going to see passive language. So that's one of the things that I want to make sure I tell you about. This is not accidental. Passive voice functions as psychological shield. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have so many notes. So when harm is described without an actor, responsibility becomes diffused. Accountability weakens. Language does not merely describe reality, it actively shapes it. So let me say that again. Language does not merely describe reality, it actively shapes it. I always say perception's reality, even when it's not real. A big part of shaping a perception is the language and the description that you use around that particular thing. Come here, buddy. Come on. Be a good boy. Come on. Oh, you're a good boy. Go ahead, sit down. He's sitting down. Good boy, Dor. Go ahead. You could sit on this little love seat with me since you're not so freaking big. Anyway, so you guys. So we're going to see this stuff. We're going to see, why do people stay silent? So why don't people speak up? People like to believe that they would speak up. I would like to believe that I'd speak up. I hope that I'd speak up, at least now at this point in my life. But back when I was in my 20s, maybe not, right? I grew up in a neighborhood where you didn't call the cops. That was like cop calling. Like, oh no. I did not teach my kids that way. You know what I mean? Because I know now that that was another way to keep my neighborhood dysfunctional. It's just, we're going to see how systems are created to keep people where they are. Okay, research consistently is going to show otherwise, that people don't speak up. So they'd like to believe that they would, but they usually don't. Silence is often driven by fear of retaliation, loss of social capital, diffusion of responsibility, and uncertainty about what one is witnessing. So think about that. What if you think you see something and then you get gaslit into, no, like that's not what you saw. Like, what do you mean this happened or that? And then you have somebody else that's backing you up like, no, that didn't happen. Now I'm starting to question what I saw. Like, did I really see that? Maybe I didn't see that. Maybe it was, something different. So we're going to see how all of that plays a role and why people stay silent. I'm closing in a second, so let me just close this out. I literally have like one left. Okay, so preventing systemic abuse. If abuse is systemic, prevention must also be systemic. So you have to fight fire with fire. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't fight fire with fire. Duh. You guys know what I mean. I'm not the sharpest knife in the sky tonight. I said that on purpose. I'm kidding. This includes transparent reporting mechanisms, real whistleblower protections, diffusion of power, and cultural intolerance for exceptionalism. In other words, we need to get just as pissed off as the people that are affected by these systemic inequities so that we can change some of the systems. And again, we're talking about things that, even if you just take one of the simplest ones from like all time, that a lot of men get paid more than women for the same jobs. That still happens today. We have things like unions and stuff like that helps curb that a little bit, but not everywhere is there unions and stuff. So I know when I got a National Teaching Excellence Award, I had to go to the University of Texas in Austin for like a big ceremony thing and to get my award. And when I was down there was like an awardee from each of the states and stuff. So there was like some of us, and we were talking. And what I noticed was, I was like, oh, damn, like you don't have a union? And what I noticed was the people, and it was a lot of people in the South. I don't know why. And then the people in the North were like, wait, what? You don't have unions? So I felt like we were trying to give them information on why they should be unionized, but then they were telling us why they shouldn't. And a lot of it goes back to the things that we're told, right? So if we're told that, I don't know. It's just a whole thing, you guys. And it just keeps on going and going and going and going because other people play the systems to make you and I think differently than what we're really saying. So, how do we prevent systemic abuse? We have to have transparent reporting mechanisms, whistleblower protections. I already said that. No individual or institution should ever be beyond scrutiny. So it shouldn't matter who it is. I shouldn't be beyond scrutiny. Nobody should, right? And in closing, the goal here for me is literacy, not outrage. My whole dissertation is on media and information literacy and identity. So literacy is a big one for me here. And we'll see that, so we're going to identify patterns, and it's about recognizing responsibility, not just who failed, but how failure becomes normalized. The goal is not outrage, the goal is psychological and institutional literacy. So that's what I put here. So we're going to understand, and then I put thank you for engaging with me in a difficult conversation thoughtfully and responsibly. And I went over all my notes. So wait, let me get back here with you guys. Hi guys and girls. How you doing? So yeah, I think next time I'm not going to put anything in the thumbnail or in the title. I think I hurt myself by doing that. Diane, what happened? Oh. Yeah, that happens. And let me tell you something, when it's your same-sex parent that betrays you, it winds up hurting on a different level. So know that. So it would have been harder that your mom is the one that disappointed you, as opposed to if dad would have in this situation, in my opinion. Oh. Oh, I love that you do landscapes and stuff. Are you the one that told me I needed more greenery in my background? Because you weren't lying, or whoever said it. Yes, we're going to look up Cuffy. We're going to look her up right now. That's who I want to look up. All right, so you could say something like E-files or Big E or The Files. That's good. Since I was a 2, adopted me a 10. However, he's my sister's biological father. A. Higgins, I didn't catch the first part, but... So yeah, did I say that? Oh, I'm going to have to go back and read these, you guys. Thank you so much, all of you, for... Oh, A. Higgins? I don't want to, repeat everybody's things, because I know people are watching back. I don't want to just... But let me just tell you... That's horrible. That's the worst thing that can happen, is that when we find we teach our kids that if they see something or if something happens, they're to tell us, they're to tell someone, speak out, and then you stay silent for years, all to come out, and things turn out worse for you. So that's terrible. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Just know, though, for everyone, including you, A. Higgins, that most of the time, the best thing is to speak out. And I'm so sorry that you didn't have people there that were as receptive as they should have been and supportive as they should have been. But know that you find other things in life, like even a YouTube channel like mine, where you have other people who might not have gone through exact same experiences, very similar ones, if not something else, and we all bond. Now, I don't want to say trauma bond, because nobody wants to trauma bond, right? But we all bond over the fact that we understand that we all just need to support each other and care for each other, and that's what I love so much about this group. Thank you all for being so supportive. Wow, so interesting. I'm definitely going to read all of these later. The Jeffrey Files, that could be a new one. Oh, thank you so much for saying that. Casey, you are good. Wait, why are you in pain? Do you have an earache too? My ear hurts so bad. All right, so here we go. We're going to switch over to Which one do I want to look at? Let's do... Here we go. Share my screen. Thor, can you please stop? You're not going out and yelling at the other dog. It's just not happening. You're just going to have to go somewhere with yourself. Because it's not happening. He's just going to be annoying now, watch. So, what do I have here? Okay, the department. Okay, so I looked up Karina. Come here, Thor. You got to stop. You need to go lay down. Go lay down. You were just out. Go lay down. You're okay. Go ahead, lay down. I made sure you went out before I went live. Go lay down. Come on. Come on, Thor. You're not going out. You're not yelling at a fox. It's not happening. I'm sorry. Okay, so I looked up Karina. How do you say her name? Shuliak? Karina Shuliak. And what I found, so another thing that we could look up with her too is if you look long crime, hold on, YouTube, Jesse Weber, he did this long crime, so let's see, Long Crime Network, and then, oh yeah, so let's see, oh my god, did you guys see this one about the possible bodies buried? Let's see. Oh my gosh, it can't be that far back. I just watched it. How about I just type it in? What was it? It was... I'll just put her name in, and then I'll find it. What is it? K-A... Crap, what was her name? It was... Oh my gosh, I don't find it. Isn't it K-A-N... K-A-R-Y-N-A. K-A-R-Y-N-A. Oh, that says Karina Cooper. No, thank you. S-H-U... Alright, let's see what happens. Yes, I found it. Alright, let's look at this real quick, you guys. Hold on, let me pull this up for us. Oh, I do have it pulled up, though.
Signed just 2 days before he died.
Okay, so I want you guys to tell... Well, first of all, let me make sure that you're seeing the same thing I am. You are. I want you guys to tell me if you can hear... if you could hear it. So I'm going to play it for a second and someone just let me know.
One that was set to give her essentially a huge portion of his fortune.
Give me like a thumbs up or like a hearts or something.
Ring. Who is she? What do these documents reveal about Epstein's final plans? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by
Were you able to see it, you guys, or hear it?
On Crime.
Oh wait, I meant to pause that. I just want to make sure that everybody's good, and I want to put me on... Oh yeah, we took this off, so I don't even have to worry about that. I forgot. I took the chat off. How about that? Are any of these bigger? Let's see now. Nah. I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll just keep it like this for a minute. And I'm going to turn this off for a second, but I'm still here. Look, I changed it to my picture, you guys, so at least now it's my picture and not just... the other thing. Okay, so at least I know that the chat's not over it. Did we say that you can hear? I can hear. Perfect. Let's do this thing. Here we go. So, just in case anybody's just joining, this is allegedly Jeffrey Epstein's secret girlfriend. Okay? And it says hidden in the Department of Justice files. Why I think this is so important is because we talk so much about Ghislaine being his girlfriend, and at least I didn't know. I was going to say we didn't know, but at least I didn't know that this girl was probably more of a girlfriend to him than Ghislaine ever was. But it also makes me think that Ghislaine was almost like an equal, if you will, as opposed to girlfriend and boyfriend. So let's listen. Again, this is Long Crime with Jesse Weber. Make sure you go over there, like, subscribe, all the things.
I'm Jesse Weber. All right, this is not fun to think about. Nobody wants to think about it. I think that will get done.
Oh, he's doing
by
it.
the way, in one of millions of pages released by the Department of Justice, documents tied to one of the most disturbing sagas in modern criminal history. And right now, I want to talk about one woman in particular. This woman has quietly emerged, not as a victim, not as an accomplice, but as something different. According to the New York Times, she was the last known confidant of Jeffrey Epstein.
Please like, you guys.
He apparently called just hours before he was found dead in his jail cell. And that woman, according to the records, is Karina Shuliak.
Okay, so what I want to know from you guys real quick. One, did you guys know Karina Shuliak before recently, like of her name? And two, well, I guess I should only give you one question at a time. Were you guys aware of her at the time and or like her relationship with Jeffrey? Were you aware of her at all? Because I wasn't aware of her at all.
Now, why does that name matter? Because buried in those same files is a seemingly secret financial document signed by Epstein just 2 days before he died. And this document appears to place her at the center of his final financial plans. Outlines an extraordinary bequest.
A. Higgins, I
More
agree.
than $100 million was set to go to her. And also, his private islands, his Manhattan mansion, a 33-carat diamond ring described in
Imagine
Epstein's
that.
own handwriting.
Wait, a 33-carat ring. I said 30 carats, so it's even 3 carats more. So it's like, wow, that is huge. And look, you guys, he writes here. It says prior to, what does that say? Oh, prior to execution of this trust agreement, I had given Karina Shuliak the diamond ring described below in something or for marriage. Oh, contemplation of marriage, is that what it says? In the event the marriage is not consummated, I give Karina Shuliak my diamond ring set with a rectangular cut diamond weighing approximately 32.73 carats, flanked with baguette cut diamonds mounted in platinum. Damn.
As given in contemplation of marriage? So who is Shuliak? Well, the Times reports that Shuliak is a Belarusian immigrant, a dentist, a woman who remained close to Epstein during his final days in custody. This is, by the way, when much of the world had turned away. She's almost invisible in the official record because everybody talks about Ghislaine Maxwell, but when you read these financial documents, she is central to his life, central to the future that Epstein appeared to be planning. And the questions now surrounding her, the mystery only deepens because also buried in those files are details that are even more unsettling. An email from Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, congratulating Jeffrey Epstein on the birth of a baby boy in 20...
Did you guys see this? I don't know if you are still on this, but I heard from the Duke that you have had a baby boy. Even though you never kept in touch, I still am here with love, friendship, and congratulations on your baby boy. What?
A diary entry from a teenage victim who writes that she was made to feel like a human incubator for what Epstein allegedly described
creepy
as
partners
his
in crime, I
superior
agree.
gene pool. This is all incredibly unsettling. We're trying to unpack as much as we can from the Epstein saga and this deep dive into what his life was about and the questions that still linger. I mean, what else don't we know about Jeffrey Epstein and the world that he left behind? So if you're just joining us, or even if you've been following this whole thing from the very beginning, I just want to lay out for everyone what's going on so we're all on the same page. For years, the name Jeffrey Epstein meant a few things to the public. Financier, the registered sex offender, the guy with the island.
Now remember, he was a registered, right? He was registered. Was he a registered sex offender? I thought he was prosecuted, but was that part of his plea agreement?
The one with the powerful friends, but the full, ugly machinery of it all, that was locked up. It was sealed. It was hidden in vaults, redacted files. Now, that
you think
changed,
she liked
or at least
Andrew?
started to change with with what's been called the Epstein dump. It wasn't one big reveal. It was a slow, court-ordered trickle of documents released under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Millions of pages, emails, flight logs, depositions, police reports, financial records. A lot of it is exactly what you would expect. Disturbing, suggestive, grim, procedural, and it kind of lays out what this guy's life was like and who he was talking to. But in that mountain of paper, we've...
So, I don't want to do the exact things. I don't want to get, like, copyright strike. I don't know that he would do that, but just in case. But this is just showing you, you'll see.
What Epstein planned. And one of the biggest funds that we have uncovered is a document called the 1953 Trust. It was dated August 8th, 2019. Now, Epstein signed it while he was in jail, right? This is as he was awaiting trial on federal sex crimes charges, sex trafficking. And then 2 days later, after he signed it, he's dead. And the document was basically his blueprint for what happened to his empire, valued at over $600 million at the time after he was gone. By the way, we knew about this document. It was referenced in his will, which was publicized. It was mentioned in litigation over the years, but we really didn't know the exact content of it.
Look at that. That is, like, annoying.
It's kind of a secret. So this is big. And right there at the very top of the beneficiary list, Karina Shuliak, set to receive more money than anybody else, plus all of his iconic...
Now, this is the thing, though, right? She doesn't get any of this. So she wasn't able to get any of this, you guys.
...properties. And according to Business Insider, this document superseded an earlier trust from just January of that year, which named apparently someone else at the top of the beneficiary list. So that document, which they say was called the Jeffrey E. Epstein 2019 Trust, it's actually no longer available on the DOJ site, by the way. We actually tried to...
Why do you think it's no longer on the site? What do you think?
Find it, we couldn't. But Business Insider says they saw it, and so that would mean between January and August, something changed dramatically. Now that is the document trail that led...
So they don't know who he left it to before her? So he changed it right before, and apparently he signed this brand new one 2 days before he died. Not for nothing, this is the thing, you guys. I was on, like, the whole idea that he could have... I don't know, that he could still... All the things. I tried to go down all the conspiracies. But if this is true that she signed this 2 days before he outs himself, that says that for me puts a check in the box of he probably took his own life. And why? Because why do this 2 days before, right? And apparently she was one of the last people he talked to.
Us to her, and it raised immediate questions. Who was this person who suddenly became the centerpiece of his final plans? What was their relationship? What does her prominence to these files tell us about Epstein's inner world that we don't fully understand? What did she know? So we're going to get to all of that with our guests, but first, let me just quickly run through what we seem to know about Shuliak from the public record. So the basic facts before we dive into the documents themselves. So what do we know about her? Well, if you were to sketch a profile from the public reporting from outlets like the New York Times, Business Insider, The Independent, here's the picture that comes together. She's a Belarusian
She does have nice teeth, you guys.
immigrant. She came to the
She looks too young to be a dentist, doesn't she?
United States in 2009 when she was about 20. She entered Epstein's life not long after, which is interesting, right, because that was right after he was convicted in Florida for sex crimes. And this is, again, when a lot of his old social circle had peeled away. In fact, a source quoted by the Daily Mail claimed that her willingness to stand by him after his initial disgrace, that only strengthened their relationship. Now, she was trained as a dentist. The Independent reports Epstein actually helped pay her way through dental school at Columbia University. She was licensed in Florida and California. She was even linked to a dental office at St. Thomas.
So that means if she was licensed, and that means she was already done by the time he goes. Oh my gosh, she was a very young dentist.
Shared an address with one of Epstein's shell companies, which is interesting, by the way, because in a previous episode of Sidebar, remember we showed you an image of a dentist chair that was found in a room on...
Hey, Higgins, I see what you're saying. In other words, by leaving it to her, if she then goes with him, she would have it. I see that too. I guess he didn't watch Casino. I'm just...
Epstein's Island. We couldn't really confirm what that was, but...
Who are these faces? Why? Like, who are these faces? Do we know? And why are there random faces? This is the dentist office thing that they were talking about before. I'm dying to know what's behind here if you open them up. Like, I have a feeling they don't lead to, like, outside or something. Because, look, it has, on the other side of the windows, it has those drawstring curtains, like, that you pull down and it goes up. So you wouldn't have that outside. So I'm dying to know what's on the other side of that room. And what is this? Tables? And what is this? What is that? Anyway, I do think... Oh my gosh, there's more faces over here too. That's weird. Isn't it?
Have anything to do with Shuliak if she's a dentist? I mean, you gotta wonder if there was some sort of correlation there considering her profession. But here's the thing. For much of their alleged decade-long relationship, and I don't know if it was on again, off again, or what the circumstances were, Shuliak was actually married to another woman in Epstein's world. I'm talking about Jennifer Callan. Their wedding was in 2013, and lawyers for Epstein's victims have alleged that his network used sham same-sex marriages to help associates with immigration status and citizenship to keep it all under the radar. And Shuliak and Callan, they divorced in 2019. Remember, this was right about the time of Epstein's arrest. Personality-wise, the descriptions, based on the reporting, they're all over the map. Some sources called her the inspector, that she was madly jealous of him, monitoring who he was talking to, his contacts. Others, like author Michael Wolff, who dined at Epstein's home, had this kind of friendship with him, recalled her as, quote, absolutely silent in company. But two facts are consistently reported and they're crucial. First, she's widely believed to be the last person outside of the MCC, the Metropolitan Correctional Center, that Epstein ever spoke to. The Bureau of Prisons records show a 20-minute unrecorded phone call.
So I'm reading what all of you are writing, and I have no idea what's, what, I mean, I don't know if what you guys are saying is speculation. Like, did we find, because I wouldn't be surprised if we found this stuff in the documents. But I could see all of the above being true, right? Like, I'm sure it was, I'm sure it was a place where it felt torturous, and I'm sure it was also a place where he probably got his cavity filled if it didn't feel good. You know what I mean? It made him feel better. So I'm sure it served many purposes. At the same time, that thing about the teeth, like being a lot, like that is just horrifying. And then, like the not biting thing. Did you guys hear that they're doing an investigation on the lawn of one of, like, the mansion or whatever out there, and they got a tip that there's like buried bodies under the ground, and that many of them are children. So, and again, this is all alleged, but could you imagine, there's so many acres, it was like hundreds of acres or something, like, I don't even know, like, where do you start? And what do? You can't excavate the entire property. So, like, I guess you would use, like, site surveillance type equipment.
With her the evening before he
that goes underground.
Okay. Second, the documents explicitly frame the relationship as profoundly significant to him. We're not talking about rumors here. We're talking about the cold language of a legal trust. The handwritten note about the diamond ring in contemplation of marriage. The staggering scale of this bequest. So we have this figure, young, from another country, professionally established with his help, legally entangled in his world, privately described as his intended fiancée, the last known person outside the jail that he spoke with. That's the who. But to really understand the why, like why her, why then, what it meant, we got to go to the documents themselves, and that is where the story moves from biography into something else, something a lot more complex. And to do this, I want to break it down, but I want to bring on a special guest, okay? Somebody who has been tracking all of the Epstein files that have been released. Justin Shepard, host of the...
So this Justin Shepard, he interviews him, and he's actually, he sounds like a really cool guy, and he has his own show. I don't know if anybody watches it, but I want to go forward just a little bit, because I don't want to show his entire thing. I want people to go over there if they want to see it. But here they talk about how the Clintons are set to testify on Capitol Hill, and then here...
Before, is this somebody, her name surfacing so prominently in these financial documents? A, what does that signal to you? And B, have you heard about her before? What do you know about her?
So I'll answer the second one first, which is I had not heard about her before until this recent,
Me too.
document avalanche that we got. As far as everything, I mean, he's looking at leaving her a 33-carat diamond. I should have looked up what that was worth. I have no idea, but I would imagine millions and millions of dollars. The island itself, there was another $50 million in liquid assets, plus apparently he was looking at a ranch.
Ooh, look at that picture.
Property. So obviously
look at this picture. Gross. So he's got a tail behind his head. What's this like? Oh, the shower curtain. Blech.
Person was somebody who meant a great deal to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the reason for that, I'm not exactly sure. I also find it interesting that this will was signed by him 2 days prior to his death.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
It's hard to overlook that.
Yeah, because that would seem to suggest to me that the theories out there that
Wait, the ones at Buckingham Palace? What? I didn't hear about that. Are you kidding? Oh my God. What?
he was killed, I don't know if that necessarily lines up. I mean, it would make more sense if he was getting all of his affairs in order and 2 days later did something to himself versus 2 days later he was killed, or some will say, oh, he knew he was going to be killed, right? I mean, that does become a question.
I do think it changes the public narrative a bit. It's like, he knew it was coming. So that means one of two things. Either he did it himself, which is, in this case, I would say the more likely outcome, or he knew somebody was coming for him. But I think that it's probably more the former than the latter.
So let's talk about this, because I think the financial documents tell a lot of the story. There was this shift that apparently, from this earlier document in January of 2019 to the 1953 trust in August, again, that he apparently signed.
So they just go back over the same thing they said earlier about how he did have another document, but that 2 days before he's gone, that he signs a new one. Oh, look at this, you guys. Look at look at his fingers here. When I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, look how hard he's squeezing her arm. And her hand, I don't know. I don't like this picture at all.
She was very well taken care of, and other people who were close to him were taken care of, because I believe that, we have a $288 million estate. He's got 44 benefactors. Obviously, Corinna is the one who is benefiting the most from this, or is getting the most from this. His brother was going to get $10 million. There was somebody else that was going to get $10 million.
Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. He was going to give Ghislaine Maxwell $10 million. Doesn't he look older here than he did when he passed? Look at him with his turtleneck. Oh, dork.
They get $10 million. So these are all people who were very close to him, very loyal to him.
But I want to get through this because I want to show you something about Ghislaine.
Justice to have answers, and this woman could have a lot of those answers. So I'm with you. Why not sit her down and at least see what she has to say, do a recorded interview?
And by the way, I know they're still going through the documents. I don't know if there's something to suggest maybe there was some sort of interview with her or some sort of conversation. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe stand corrected.
Has anybody heard of an interview or a conversation with her? Because this is the thing. There's 3 million documents. So who knows if every single document has been read and processed yet. So if anybody knows of one, let me know.
I don't know. But I do want to go through what we seem to know from these financial documents that put Shuliak at the center of the story. So you have this foundational document. It's the Jeffrey Epstein's last will and testament, and I think that funnels the money into the trust. But what I really want to get to is the 1953 trust. So it's the one that names Shuliak. And you have this particular section, and it reads, to Corinna Shuliak, if she survives me, $50 million.
Wow.
In addition, the trustees are directed to purchase an annuity for the benefit of Corinna Shuliak in the amount of $50 million. So that is the headline.
So wait, the trustees are directed to purchase an annuity? So that's $100 million. What? Wow. So he's saying right away she gets $50 million, and then when it's practicable, that the trustees should make an annuity in another $50 million. Wow.
$100 million dedicated to her. And then you have this next section, 2.3b, really breathtaking. It lists the specific properties for her. All of my interests, Zorro Ranch, New Mexico, the island known as Little St. James, the island known
as... that's it, Little St. James. We need to write that down.
Great St. James, 22 Avenue 5, Paris, 358 El Brillo Way, Palm Beach, 9 East 71st Street, New York. Justin, these are iconic properties, the island...
Little St. James, that's the one I want to look up, you guys. All right, let's see.
What did she have access to? Because there's been so much talk about Ghislaine Maxwell, right? So much talk about her being his number two, his associate, his girlfriend, and there's not a lot of talk about Shuliak. And I'm not saying, by the way, that she has any knowledge or was part of anything that Maxwell or Epstein were up to, but again, this kind of money transfers are interesting.
No, I would agree with you. And, again, everything at this point is speculation, and it's very strange because things that you would once... I said to anybody else, this is just an absolutely wild conspiracy theory.
Oh, look at this.
Some of those things...
What is this What is this? Can someone tell me what is this over here, this picture in the blue frame? That's clearly a face or something. Are these legs? Like, what is this? And where is this? What's happening? Someone needs to help me with that. And then there's redactions on the other picture in front of them. I do not like that. It reminds me of and this is just my thought process, it reminds me of somebody this is their face laying down And that's their legs, but I don't know what they're on. But you guys tell me what you see. It's so bothersome. But then there's redactions here and here too.
Are coming out in these documents as apparently truth, and it's, or, perceived truth, I should say. And so it's kind of hard to even guess what's reality and what's not with some of this, but you almost wonder, I'm trying to do the math, I know she's in her 30s now, if you go back to 2009, she was probably in her late teens, early 20s
It's a body.
when they met. And, I almost wonder, was she being groomed to take over this empire for him?
You make a really good point. And by the way, I should tell everybody, all of this money, all of these properties that Epstein wanted it to go to, including her, didn't work out that way. The money of the properties didn't go.
Yeah.
The estate went into a trust, which was used to pay out all the victims, the legal fees, the expenses. The New York Post reporting that now it's just under $130 million that's left. It's all tied up
He said just 130 million.
in the U.S. Virgin Island probate courts. I mean, do you know the status of that, Justin?
I mean, probate goes slow, and that's what I heard too, about 127 million still tied up, and that I would imagine it's going to be for a long time as you continue to process through this, as victims come forward and try to, stake their claims, to
For having a dentist girlfriend, she should have fixed his teeth right.
be compensated for the abuse that they went through. I think that, the odds of her receiving anything, it will be years before she does, if she does at all.
I want to look at a different kind of document now. So these are apparently the emails from Shuliak to Epstein, herself. We have two. I want to read. The first is
Harlot says it looks kind of different in the picture than I remember it, but I thought it was someone with their legs, like they were sitting on the couch and the upper, that's what I think it is, Harlot, with their upper body slumped over. That's what it looked like to me too.
May of 2012, and it reads, I love you very much. You will always have me, no matter what, as long as it makes you happy. The second, from June of 2013, says, you have absolutely ruined me today.
Sick of the
Each minute
bullshit,
I'm struggling to not cry. Justin, sometimes very tough to make sense of what these emails could mean, particularly given you've been going through how many communications and messages. Look at the thing with Peter Attia. I mean, my gosh, you can go back and forth with that. Anything you take away from these kinds of emails? And by the way, so much of this is documented. He had so many communications through email, shared so much through email communication.
Yeah, that was so dumb, you guys. We always say, like, people get caught through, like, the dumbest things. And I guess he never thought that his emails would ever be intercepted, because he probably thought that he was smarter than everybody, like they all do, and that, he would never get caught. But yeah, no, here it goes. I do think that this is a picture frame. I don't think it's a video. I think that's a picture frame. And I think that they're the legs and they're slumped over a couch or whatever it is. And then this looks like a redaction here because it's, no, you know what, you guys, now that I'm looking at it, that's exactly what it is. Look, I could see it clear as day. Thank you, Harlot. These are the feet, they're the legs. This is an arm right here tucked under. This is a white t-shirt. This is the face. This is the hair. That's a ponytail. And they're slumped over. That's 100%, in my opinion, what it is.
Incriminating, verbiage, like they never thought it would, I guess I'm sure they never thought it would be seen. But, in my mind, and I know, you're an attorney, in my mind, I always think, well, if I'm going to send this email, and it's going to be seen 5 years from now, am I comfortable with what it says? And it's like none of these people
That's
who
a good policy.
Brilliant, highly intelligent world leaders, businessmen, etc. They're all just, emailing these things, and it's just, that kind of blows my mind. Now,
that's scary.
This when you have people with a lot of power, and then a, much younger dynamic.
We also have this diary entry I got to mention as well. Now, I don't know who this is from.
I think
this
we
is kind of
read
making
this.
a lot of headlines too, and as we're just talking about the writings, we're talking about communication. And the handwriting is kind of difficult to decipher, but this person writes about feeling like a, quote, human
We did.
incubator,
We read this.
claims that Epstein talked about creating a superior gene pool. She mentions the pressure to play piano, as well as the reason that she was chosen. You've seen stuff about that, Justin, right? To say, was there a secret child or something?
Yeah, there's supposedly, and I believe, don't hold me to this, I believe I saw this morning right before I came on to speak with you, something that, where Sarah Ferguson had, congratulated him.
So 2011 email from Sarah Ferguson.
Point, nothing's off the table. It's like, why would you want to have this secret facility? And like, well, if you're into trafficking children and you can grow your own children that have no record, that's kind of, and I coupled that with another email. I don't know if you saw this one between him and a physician, where this physician, or neurologist, I believe, well-known renowned neurologist, I don't get his name off the top of my head, gives him a casual hint, and this is going to be disturbing, so I'm sorry. At least when you look at it in the context. And this physician, this doctor, is saying how babies, newborns, will suck harder on their pacifiers at the sound of their mother's voice. And it's just, that comment alone isn't disturbing, but when you look at it in the context of who it's being sent to.
Think about that. That is so Duster disturbing. I can't even tell you. But the rest of it, they just they talk about stuff and then they do another commercial thing. Do you guys know who Rotten Mango is? I love Rotten Mango. I love Stephanie. I think she's amazing. So which one is it? Hold on. Oh wait, I think it's this one. Hold on. Yes, I think it was that one. See over here, so even she's seen Ghislaine but she goes in. Oh, I wonder which one we do. Do we look more at her story about Ghislaine? Or do we do, you know what, I should probably keep the island stuff until tomorrow with Anya, Dr. Schultz. Oh, he had an odd specific morning routine. Again, this is Rotten Mango. Let's see what this is.
One of the largest private residences in all of New York City.
There
is a 9-floor townhouse that's 51,000 square feet. The minute that you walk past
51,000 square feet? What?
the 15-foot oak door, you are in fantasy land. You're not in New York City anymore. The entryway had these frames that were lined up on the wall, just hanging. Each one was an eyeball, individually framed. Welcome.
What?
To Jeffrey Epstein's world. It said that his morning was absolutely to the T, meticulously organized and very routine. He would wake up exactly 6 a.m. He would spend 25 minutes in utter silence. He calmly gets up and walks a third of a mile with two very young, beautiful women, maybe 19 years old. Then he comes back home. He cares about every little thing that his body consumes and how sharp his mind is the entire day. He sits down at his desk, which allegedly J.P. Morgan...
Oh my God, look at that picture. She's cupping her boob.
Morgan himself used to own and gets to work. Whatever work is for Jeffrey Epstein, though. Nobody really knew what this man did for a living. One of the largest private residences in all of New York City. There is a 9-floor townhouse that's 50...
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, so I should leave that other one. Let's look more into Ghislaine real quick, because that would be the other girl. And then we just need to keep our ears out for her. But wait, I also... Hold on. Let's go here real quick. The Department of Justice. We over here can see... Where is it? 3 documents were edited. So this is a flight thing. We could read just by like looking at this, and like, this is what we'll do. We're going to look over this and we're going to see if there's anything that we think we should look into more, or like click on. So you guys let me know if you see anything that you think I should click on, instead of me opening each one and then going through them, because there's 36,366 with her name in them. And maybe we can come up with more of a pattern. You know what I mean? So let's see. This one says, oh, sign in. All images, videos, news maps, more setting tools, dentist, medical license. Oh, that's interesting. Bloomingdale's. Oh my gosh, there's a Bloomingdale's. Excuse me, Olive Cafe, Grand Cafe. Oh, look, it says them how much it is too. She spent $84 at Bloomingdale's on 8/16/2014. That same day, she spent $75 at Bloomingdale's. On 8/13 at the Grand Cafe, she spent $45.89, and then at the Olive Cafe, she spent $194.36, and then on 8/11, she spent Shop Eye Store $54.12, and then I guess it just keeps going on and on. Let's see what it says. I kind of am interested to see what else she spent money on. This is in data set 11. Yes, I'm 18. Come on. Ooh, what's this? It's only 2 pages. So this is, it says, I confirm, hi Bella, I confirm charges. Thank you. This is from her. Oh. Dear Karina, please confirm charges. All right, so she confirms the charges, so we don't even have to say alleged. So it looks like it goes from the bottom up, so let's start that way. In this page, there's nothing on. So it starts at 8/10/2014. The Grand Cafe, she likes this place, for $60. Then iStore for $54. Then this one just says $4.86. It doesn't say for what. Then on 8/11 we have the Olive Cafe. She likes this one too, $194. Then we have Resto and Fashion Club, $35. Hotel. Oh my God. On 8/11, Hotel EVROPA, Evropa or something, and it says Euro 2,200 equals 0, and then it says $2,951.01. $3,000 for a hotel? What? Then the Grand Cafe, $56. Then the Grand Cafe, $45. Then PT Univermagum, $75.89. Then Restorian Renaissance, $91.40. Then we have Shop SP2, and it says for $271.99. Then, oh my God, another shop. I don't even know what that says. Tom Madrid or something, $200. Wow. Then Golden Coffee, $55 for coffee. Then the Surge Shop, $23. That hotel again, $222. I wonder if he knew she was getting hotel rooms. Then $6 for McGinnis or something. Oh, this looks like it was separate. All right, and then we have $4.50 for something else for Mason Kaiser. Atlantic Grill, $121.40. Taxi, $6. Oh wow. Bloomingdale's, $6.16 at Bloomingdale's. Wow, must be nice. Then $84 at Bloomingdale's. And then another one, but it doesn't say. That must be nice. Okay, so that's that. That's so interesting. Oh, come on, what did I do? Oh, I just have to do that again. Okay, so that was this one over here. What's this one? Oh, it says Jeffrey Epstein's personal bag. 3 documents were edited. Oh, this was a flight itinerary. Huh. What else is there? There's so many. Diploma. Wow, her diploma in 2015. June 23rd, 2015. That's crazy. All right, let's look a little bit about what Rotten Mango has to say about Ghislaine. Let's pivot over a little bit to Ghislaine.
These jagged rocks with sea urchins just roaming about. The waves are crashing in. I mean, even if she jumps, she could land on a rock. She could injure herself. But if she doesn't injure herself, let's say she jumps and she's fine, then what? Is she really going to swim 2 miles to...
There's no way there's only 16 likes. What's happening? Am I on something different? Wait, why doesn't it say subscribe? What is this? Oh, this isn't them. Oh, I'm on liking. Somebody else reposted their stuff. I don't like that. I'm going to get hers. Hold on. Here goes Rotten Mango. I mean, unless that's... Oh, wait. Unraveling Mango Mysteries. Oh, my God. I'm so dumb. Not dumb, but I forgot that she did a second thing.
Jagged rocks.
She has a second thing, so we're going to subscribe to that and that. This is her. I'm like 99% sure this is her. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is. It is. Unless somebody knows something different, but I feel like I remember her saying, but why would they have 1.1 thousand subscribers? I don't know. Well, I guess we're going to say, oh, you're rolling a blunt, and you, oh, look at you, yo. Nice. Have you seen the jail mail? They created a mock-up of Jeff's email. And as if you logged into his Gmail, making searching files and keywords super easy in one place. Wait, which one's that? Coffee, or if you're on here, is that wait, is that something like this you mean? This is the one I found. I think, yes, I think this is the one I found. So wait, hold on, let's see. I did see something with emails. Let's see. Let me go back one, because there was something different here. So they had all kinds of stuff here. I found this site. It was, let me go back one more so we could see. Oh, it says legal troubles, financial career, notes, biography and photos. Oh, I went too far because I just kept clicking and clicking and clicking. Oh, look at that. The biography and photo collection. This is, oh my God, the most comprehensive visual documentation in the collection. Contains photographs spanning from Epstein's 1969 Brooklyn High School yearbook through 2014. Includes images of Donald Trump at the Victoria's Secret Angels Party in 1997, Prince Andrew, Ellen Dershowitz in Cambridge, Bill Clinton, Ghislaine Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago in 1995, and Stephen Hawking aboard a custom-fitted submarine. Documents all major properties: Palm Beach Estate, Manhattan Townhouse, Little St. James Island. Shows his 2008 booking photo and the Palm Beach County Stockade cell where he served his sentence. Oh, it says, of course, I want to click on it and it says not found. Oh, why isn't it found? Well, that stinks. It says fully searchable. Browse all documents. Wait, let's do this. How about this? Oh no. See, I messed that up for myself. But anyway, this was another one, a complete collection. So I don't know if you meant something like this, but like you could look up different people. I need to let the dogs out real quick, so I'm just going to put this one for a second, but everybody go subscribe and stuff. And let me know if you don't think that this is her, but I think it is. Yeah, because look, it says Rotten Mango up there. It is.
With sea urchins just roaming about, the waves are crashing in. I mean, even if she jumps, she could land on a rock, she could injure herself. But if she doesn't injure herself, let's say she jumps and she's fine, then what?
Let me make this not as fast. I had it faster because of someone else. I forget who we were watching. But let me slow it down a little. So over here, she tells a story about a girl that that tries to escape, and that Ghislaine comes over and hands her like her hand and real like gently tells her, come with me, and that she goes back with her and she feels like she can't escape. But I want to go past this. Hold on. Oh wait, what is this?
Beautiful. It was his 22-year-old daughter, Ghislaine.
Oh, here, this is where I wanted to show you guys. Oh, you guys, just wait. Oh my God.
Is going down south, or
wait, hold on, I gotta get it to where. All right, here we go. Wait till you hear this.
rooms, a tennis court, swimming pool, of course, 24/7 guards posted at the main
This is
entrance,
Ghislaine.
fences with barbed wire on the outer layers of the property. There's video cameras drilled into tree trunks, and the lawn doubles as a helipad. I mean, the house is so massive, there's a full-scale parking lot in front, multiple gardens, like, you know, the tiered gardens, the multi-level gardens. I mean, this house is full of history. It was built in 1824, and it's said that Oscar Wilde, the author known for The Picture of Dorian Gray, had attended parties there. But now, the 50-room castle was owned by a single family, the Maxwells. The Maxwells of Pergamon Press, one of the largest publishing houses in the UK at the time. Now, Robert Maxwell, the patriarch of the family, would later go on to own the Daily Mirror, which is one of the biggest publications in the UK with kind of a seedy reputation. They're considered more of a tabloid newspaper, but massive nonetheless. And Robert Maxwell was worth $1.9 billion.
Yep.
The Maxwells are
That's
not
a lot.
just rich, they're filthy rich.
She was more rich.
She was born with a diamond spoon in her mouth. During Christmas, there's usually this beautifully lit up 3-story tall tree inside the mansion. I mean, this is extravagance. It's opulence. If any of the Maxwell kids...
I just realized that this is what I watched, but this must be like the podcast version. So let me go to Rotten Mango real quick because
matters worse, I need to borrow...
just to see if this is what I was looking for. Alright, is this it? Hold on.
Who argued that the...
No, but I know I could find it here. I apologize, you guys. Just bear with me for a second. How's everybody doing up there? Look, that is crazy. I love this girl. She has 6.25 million subscribers and only 443 videos. That's not even that many. They do one a week. She's like killing it. I love this girl. I like watched her wedding videos. All right, here we go. Wait, that's not the one, but Ghislaine Maxwell, we're getting there because I watched this. Oh, I watched this and it was crazy. Oh my god. Where is it? Come on. I know how I can find it. Playlist. Oh, of course she doesn't have any. Oh, yes she does. There's 200 and something episodes. Oh gosh. I don't want to do that, but I do want to see what they are.
Reese Jones is every
No,
San
we
Francisco
don't want Reese
tech guy.
Jones. Oh my god, you guys. I watched it. I could just go with my history too. Let's do that. I'm going to be very daring and just go through my history and see. Alright, so we got this. Ready? A lot of these I had to show in school, but I passed them already. This is the stuff that I've been watching, you guys. So you could see. Oh wait, was that? Oh. Did I watch this? Who's that? I'm gonna have to watch that later so I can pick out specific things because I know where the other things are. Here we go. This is the one. And I'm gonna skip it again to where I was before because here we go, you guys. This is what I wanted to show you.
Swimming pool, of course. 24/7 guards posted at the main entrance, fences with barbed wire on the outer layers of the property. There's video cameras drilled into tree trunks, and the lawn doubles as a helipad. I mean, the house is so massive, there's a full-scale parking lot in front, multiple gardens, like, you know, the tiered gardens, the multi-level gardens. I mean, this house is full of history. It was built in 1824, and it's said that Oscar Wilde, the author known for The Picture of Dorian Gray, had attended parties there. But now, the 50-room castle was owned by a single family, the Maxwells. The Maxwells of Pergamon Press, one of the largest publishing houses in the UK at the time. Now, Robert Maxwell, the patriarch of the family, would later go on to own the Daily Mirror, which is one of the biggest publications in the UK with kind of a seedy reputation. They're considered more of a tabloid newspaper, but massive nonetheless. And Robert
So she goes on to say how people pretty much said that he was like a dick or whatever, and he was proud of that. I just don't want to get like copyright strike. So
past the lush trees, through the giant property, until they finally get up to Headington Hill Hall. You know what they called him, right? They called him a brazen, impatient, rude, insufferable, intolerant scoundrel with a monstrous ego. That's what they called him in the press the other day. You know what Robert responded back? What? He said, "I plead guilty to all of it." Oh, geez. His poor wife, Betty, she's like a poor dormouse. She's so quiet, so shy. I mean, at a recent party he threw at the mansion, Robert, in front of his wife, was hitting on another married woman. And when that married woman said, "Oh, no, thank you, I'm not interested," you know what he did? I heard he turned around straight to that married woman's young daughter, maybe 20 years old, and hit on her in front of everyone. The Maxwell family was known to be a bit strange. Robert Maxwell would attend to galas and work functions with this beautiful young woman on his arm. And if you didn't know, you might think that's his wife. Billionaire marries young, beautiful woman. It makes sense. She was always dressed in the most expensive gowns. I mean, he would stare at her lovingly and show her off to everyone in the room. Isn't she
wait until you hear the punchline. Everybody listen up.
just beautiful? It was his 22-year-old daughter, Ghislaine Maxwell. So when
Could you imagine? So he didn't take his wife to these things. He took Elaine with him. That's a little weird.
all the business executives walk into the estate for Sunday brunch, they are led to the formal dining room, and they find Robert seated at the head of the table. He looks...
I would say that she grew up with, like, more than a silver spoon. It was more like a diamond spoon. She was privileged.
up to greet them. They smile. They look down near his legs, and there is his daughter, 22-year-old Ghislaine Maxwell,
Yes, explain
kneeling
before
at
I
her
go.
father's feet under the table.
Doing what?
Just tears streaming down her face, eyes red, snot, everything. Robert Maxwell was completely ignoring her. Take a seat, everyone. Everyone at that lunch that day had to eat and talk to each other about business, make jokes with Robert Maxwell, how's the printing business, all the while acting like Ghislaine Maxwell, the billionaire's daughter, was not at his knees under the table sobbing. It was...
Could you imagine 22 years old? I have a 22-year-old daughter. So I tried to picture my husband sitting at the table with a bunch of his friends and my 22-year-old daughter at his knees under the table, hysterical crying and him ignoring her. And this is, remember when we talk about coercive control and I say things like, hell, you don't even have to like say things or like demand things, like people just know. So everybody just acted like it wasn't happening, even though they were all so uncomfortable. He never said like, you have to sit here and da-da-da, but they knew that, or they felt like they couldn't say no. And that's the same thing that we're going to hear with allegations with Jeffrey too. So you're going to see so many parallels between Jeffrey and her dad that, I mean, I think it makes total sense. Hell, I mean, I see the parallels big time. I'm sure you do too.
bizarre. But there would just always be two men who Ghislaine's whole life revolved around. She did everything to please them, to make them happy, to feel loved by them. The first being her billionaire father, who would be found dead in the water near his super yacht, with suspicions on whether or not he was murdered. Then, her billionaire boyfriend, who would be found dead in a prison cell, with suspicions on whether or not he was murdered. Her father was the disgraced Robert Maxwell of Pergamon Press, and her boyfriend, the disgraced Jeffrey Epstein of Pal Island.
How crazy is that? Right? So talk about history repeating itself. So not only did she wind up finding somebody, even if they were more friendship, we're going to find out that Ghislaine at one point like wanted to marry him. So I don't know that it was reciprocated, like the feelings like that. But if he would have been like, marry me, she would have definitely said yes type thing and had his children and stuff like that. So in my opinion, so to me, it's not surprising that they both turn out to be powerful but disgraced men. And that's why I totally agree. I think it was Explore Corps that said that she knew how to, like, she knew she was groomed by her dad, in my opinion. So she was like groomed for Jeffrey Epstein pretty much. So when her dad's out of the picture, he comes in, and to her, it probably felt like home. You know what I mean? She probably felt like, oh my God, I wish my dad was alive. Like, you two would have been, you know, great buddies, stuff like that. Like, I could so see that, right? So we see parallels there, at least I do, in my opinion. So the fact that they both are disgraced eventually is also no surprise, in my opinion.
Maria was running down the hall of the massive New York City townhouse. Some people said this place felt haunted. I mean, the color palettes were always mainly burgundy and deep, rich, dark colors, which is beautiful. I'm sure it all costs a fortune, but it has this suffocatingly grim, atmospheric undertone to it all. There was a taxidermy tiger in the office, a giant stuffed giraffe. There was a life-size...
Did you see that? Hold on, ready? Watch this.
I'm sure it all costs a fortune, but it has this suffocatingly grim, atmospheric undertone to it all. There was a taxi...
All right, ready? You guys, there was a taxidermy lion just chilling. Could you imagine? And look, this right here is a puppy. What the actual taxidermy is going on?
Tiger in the office, a giant stuffed giraffe. There was a life-sized female doll hanging from a chandelier in one room. And in the master bathroom, there were just boobs hung up on the wall.
Boobs.
Not paintings, not drawings, or even pictures. Fake breasts mounted on the wall, like suction cup to the wall, so the owner of the mansion could take a bath and play with the breasts on the wall.
A frame as artwork type of thing?
I don't even think they were framed.
Oh.
It was like a villain in a cartoon movie was given $1 billion. This is the type of house that they would build. But
that is such a good point. What Stephanie's saying there is the fact that he had access to a ton of money and he had no inhibition, right? It allowed him to, and I'm sure other billionaires too or whatever that have all that access, it allows them to create the atmosphere that they want or fantasize about.
some rooms in the 40-plus room estate were genuinely beautiful. Some of the ceilings had
Wow, look
elaborate
at that.
murals painted on them. I mean, one was like the sky and the clouds with angels, and you look up and you feel like you're staring at the clouds. I mean, regardless of how beautiful these rooms were, there was just always this creepy energy about the place, and even more so now. Maria ran to her room at the end of the hallway, and she slammed the door shut, and she looked around panicked. She moved this giant piece of furniture up against the door to block them from coming into her room. She would stay there until she thought it was safe to escape. The night before, the wife, the lady of the house, as they call her, came to Maria in a bathrobe and asked her to follow her to the husband's room.
Okay, so this story, I want to skip the story, but it is a good one, so please go back and listen. She's talking about the girl from the beginning of the story that Ghislaine goes and brings back to the house. The lady of the house that she's talking about right there, she thought that the woman and the man, she was staying at the mansion, she thought that they were husband and wife, but here she comes to find out that it's Ghislaine and Epstein. And she goes in and he wants her to rub his feet, and she was afraid that she said she didn't feel like she had a choice. So she winds up rubbing his feet, and then Ghislaine and him assault her for the first time.
That was in her job description, but it also meant Maria saw everyone who came and went.
Okay, this part is the part that I do think is important. So the same girl is now, she lives there. So Jeffrey Epstein has like videotapes everywhere, like cameras and stuff. However, he starts making her do jobs that she wasn't really signed up for. Like, she thought that she was going there to do one thing. I think it was like art and stuff, but here he had her like sitting at the front, like at the front of the house, signing people in. But wait till you see, this is so interesting because this now keeps a log of everyone.
Everyone had to sign in when they visited, even if they were just delivering something. I mean, it was mind-numbing, tedious work. That was in her job description. But it also meant Maria saw everyone who came and went. She immediately noticed a lot of young teen girls in school uniforms coming into the house. The first time it happened, she probably thought, maybe it's a relative or something. But the second, third, fourth time, Maria's getting confused. She's getting alarmed. It's not like they have a high school kid that's inviting friends over. What business would this older couple have bringing high schoolers into their mansion? Maria gently brought it up to Ghislaine, the lady of the house, and she just told her, they're here to audition for Victoria's Secret. You know Jeffrey is very close friends with Leslie Wexner, the CEO of Limited Brands, the ones that are in Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works. So I go and I scout for models at Central Park. They come in for an audition, and if they're lucky, they'll be models. From then on, Ghislaine would scout in front of Maria. It was...
Okay, so think about that right there. Think about the psychology behind that. So Ghislaine not only comes up with this elaborate excuse, but she does it on the fly. Like, she doesn't know that Maria, that's this particular day, is going to ask her about it, and she does. And Ghislaine's like, oh yeah, well, you know, his friend that owns Victoria's Secret, well, you know, these girls, if they're lucky enough, they might get a job with us. And this girl, she's just mad because she didn't make the cut. Like, talk about coercive control and like gaslighting and all of the things. I mean, that's like antisocial behavior if I've ever seen it, in my opinion.
It's just odd. Sometimes they'd be in the car and Ghislaine would be like, stop the car. The driver
So
would...
because of that, Ghislaine then feels comfortable scouting out girls with her in the car.
park in the middle of Central Park or near private schools, Ghislaine would just hop out, run over to a high school girl in her uniform, give her her number, and then run back to the car.
That's insane. Just in the middle of New York.
Yes.
Wow.
And it was ballsy. They would target private schools, where these are pretty privileged kids, too.
Imagine that.
Maria would later see these same girls at the house, and the whole thing, I mean, I guess it made sense, right? But then Maria started seeing some red flags. She couldn't shake the feeling that they're not auditioning for Victoria's Secret. Like, the whole thing is weird. Side note, Maria herself is really young, so she doesn't know how these things work. But Maria's thinking, first of all, the parents aren't coming with them, which is weird. Like, if you're getting scouted to be a model for some sort of career, your parents would likely come. Second of all, some of the girls have braces. Maria's like, I don't remember the last time I saw a model with braces. And third, the girls were auditioning for Victoria's Secret, so Ghislaine said. And they're way too young to even have any breasts, really. Most of them...
Okay, think about that. That's gross.
Didn't even have any breasts. So she's like, this is just kind of weird. Maria's sitting at the stool in the front when one of the young schoolgirls comes running down the stairs, crying, screaming, and she just rushes out. Maria turns around and Ghislaine is standing
Casey,
there.
that's interesting.
Oh no, like, what happened? What's wrong? She didn't get the job, that's what's wrong. Some girls are not cut out for modeling. Maria starts feeling really sick in that house. I mean, the way that Ghislaine talked about the girls, like they were auditioning to be models, and the way the couple treated the house staff. I mean, all the house staff were treated like useless peasants. Anyone that was deemed beneath the couple were subhuman. It was shocking. Sometimes Ghislaine would even call somebody a nobody to their face. At the end...
So that's narcissistic behavior, right? The fact that you, like, think about that, like, just being able to call somebody a nobody to their face just assumes that you're somebody, right? Because if you think that they're a nobody and you think that you have the privilege to tell them that they're a nobody, I mean, come on.
Entrance of this massive townhome, they actually have what they call the living chessboard. It's a chessboard with figurines, and each one is a staff member, modeled after the staff member and custom made. They're all just chess pieces. So imagine, you're the housekeeper of this house, you come and you're cleaning the chessboard and you're like, why does this chess piece look exactly like me? Why does this look like the maintenance man? Why does this look like the assistant?
They made like a custom
Yes.
chess act, but looks like workers.
The staff members, yeah.
That
of
is
the house.
so weird.
That's crazy.
It's so bizarre.
And they just like moving them around like a little
Yeah.
chess.
Explore Core, I can't find your theory. I went back and I saw a thing, but tell me, maybe I'll go back and look too. I don't want you to have to redo it.
Like-
Only the workers, not themselves.
No, they're just pawns and they're gods of the masters of the universe.
Oh, that's so sick and twisted.
Yeah. But also
Oh, wow.
the psychology of coming to work and
Yeah.
you're on a chessboard. What?
Okay, so I want you to hear that again because I was kind of talking through it and this is so important.
That's
Of the house.
so weird.
It's so bizarre. It's bored. It's a treated the house staff. I
Here
mean,
we
all
go,
the house
listen.
staff were treated like useless peasants. Anyone that was deemed beneath the couple were subhuman. It was shocking. Sometimes Ghislaine would even call somebody a nobody to their face. At the entrance of this massive townhome, they actually have what they call the living chessboard. It's a chessboard with figurines, and each one is a staff member, modeled after the staff member and custom made. They're all just chess pieces. So imagine, you're the housekeeper of this house, you come and you're cleaning the chessboard and you're like, why does this chess piece look exactly like me? Why does this look like the maintenance man? Why does this
Wait,
look
they
like the
turned-
assistant?
They made like a custom
Yes.
chess act, but looks like
The
workers.
staff members, yeah.
That's
of the house.
so weird.
It's so bizarre.
And they just like moving them around like a little
Yeah.
chess. But
Like-
only the workers, not themselves.
No, they're just pawns and they're gods of the masters of the universe.
Oh, that's so sick and twisted.
Yeah. But also
Oh, wow.
the psychology of coming to work and
Yeah.
you're on a...
Okay, so there you go. Coming to work, the psychology behind that, I would say, is coercive control, right? Excuse me. Coercive control and that narcissistic and antisocial behavior again. With coercive control, it's just reminding somebody that you're literally pawns on our board, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't set them up in ways that they made it look like one could be taken out at any moment. Like, it's just, the whole thing is to instill fear and competition, and it's degrading. I mean, there's just so many things here.
chessboard. One day, Ghislaine walked over to Maria at the front, and she pointed. Look at that pinhole right next to you. Maria looked, I mean, it looked odd. Was it reflective or something? It looked like there was a hidden camera or something there. So Maria later asked Jeffrey about it, and he took her into a room where the entire desk was lined with screens and CCTV footage of secret cameras throughout the property, which is to be expected. This is a massive mansion with artwork that cost millions of dollars. The paint...
So what she says, the thing that isn't expected, oh, there goes that painting we saw earlier. She has it blurred out here. But in that painting earlier in her short, it wasn't blurred out, and you saw it was a picture of her breast, and she's cupping it. I want to go forward a little bit, though, because I don't want to use her entire video. I'm trying to look from the thing. Wait, let me see. This might be...
paper headquarters, just like the roof, so a stream of pee was shooting down.
Okay, no, yes. I want you guys to hear this, so listen.
Still alive. Ghislaine was incredibly proud to be his daughter, but in kind of an alarming way.
This is about
She once
Maxwell.
pulled aside a family friend of theirs, and I guess they're slightly disagreeing on something, and she turned on him and she said, "Don't forget, I'm Daddy's girl." And he was like,
Imagine that.
"What? Okay." Then she would turn around to her dad, and suddenly she'd be very quiet and timid and snuggle up on him, sit on his knee. She worked her dad. I mean, she knew what he wanted from her, and she became this blank canvas for him. But now he's dead, and nobody knew why. I mean, they did, and they didn't. 3 pathologists disagreed on the exact cause of death. There are theories circulating that he had a heart attack and fell into the water, then died by accidental drowning. One person close to Robert Maxwell argued that Robert always woke up in the middle of the night, butt naked. He would walk over, in the dark, to the edge of his yacht to pee off the side. They speculated that he probably fell and drowned. Side note, Robert Maxwell had a thing for urinating off of the sides of things. Allegedly, he urinated off the top of the near paper headquarters.
Imagine that.
Just like the roof, so a stream of pee was shooting down. I digress.
But again,
yeah. Others thought...
I didn't mean to do that. Imagine how narcissistic, or, oh wait, I don't want to stop her in that position.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about how narcissistic and antisocial that is, and like just how privileged you think you are that you can pee over the side of the building.
You think that's out of this world? Robert Maxwell had known links to the British Secret Intelligence Service, as well as the Soviet KGB, as well as Israeli intelligence. He was a secret spy for, like, all 3 of them. The speculation was that he might have known something that he shouldn't have, or maybe he got cocky, and he thought that with his billions of dollars, it would protect him from some of the most powerful...
That is interesting, that her dad was, you know, allegedly a spy for all 3 of those countries. Why do I keep doing that by accident?
entities in the world, and he started asking for things. Or maybe he was trying to get more for his end of the deal, whatever deal he had with them. I mean, obviously, this is purely speculation, but people argued, knowing Robert Maxwell's personality, where he's constantly described as a bombastic, egomaniacal bully, nobody thought he would have gone quietly, nor would he have self-exited. So there's a lot of theories circulating that he was murdered. And some people just believe that, no, he self-exited on the Lady Ghislaine near the Canary Islands. Because a few weeks after...
Okay, did you hear what she said? Off the Lady Ghislaine. The name of his yacht was the Lady Ghislaine.
Robert's death, Maxwell's empire caught fire and burned to the ground. Authorities discovered a $500 million hole in the pension funds of the company. He had taken from his employees' pension so that he could stay afloat. When Robert Maxwell died, his net worth was negative $1 billion.
Imagine that, negative $1 billion. So she talks about how she feels disgraced, so she wants to leave and go to a new city. So she comes to the United States, she goes to New York, and she still has money. She has like a few million, but she doesn't have billions anymore.
Tens of millions, but not billions. Now, the people in attendance at this very bizarre broke tea party, they thought...
So she invites her friends over.
But she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. First of all, she's not broke. Second of all, she's just gonna find another man to finance her life, and that's okay. Because Ghislaine was always the type of girl that guys liked.
I missed the part that I wanted you to hear. Hold on.
Could move to a whole new city and see if she could reinvent herself. That's exactly what she did. Ghislaine Maxwell came to New York City, got a place on the Upper East Side, and the obvious answer for someone like Ghislaine is to either A, get a job. I mean, you've got a degree from Oxford, one of the top 5 universities in the world. Or B, do what a lot of other high society people do, get a husband.
So she technically still has some money, but not a lot.
She doesn't have billions. But she's not broke.
Yeah, she has diamonds and a mansion.
She's got probably, speculating, tens of millions. But not billions. Now, the people in attendance at this very bizarre broke tea party, they thought, she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine.
So,
first of all, she's not broke.
Anyway, what happened was she came down and she started crying to all these friends at the tea party. Apparently, she was wearing like an underwear, a bra, and diamonds, just like all over. Like she had jewelry everywhere. But like, imagine how histrionic that is.
Second of all, she's just gonna find another man to finance her life, and that's okay. Because Ghislaine was always the type of girl that guys liked. Ghislaine once threw a big dinner party at her house, and usually guys are notorious for complaining about going to these dinner parties. They don't find it fascinating, they don't find it exciting.
Wait till you see what she did.
It's just another dinner with more people that you have to make small talk with. It's just not that fun. But the guys, they loved Ghislaine's parties. One of the attendees stated Ghislaine was a masterful hostess. I mean, it was like her life's calling. She knew how to cater to everybody's needs, but not in like this overly nice, I'm trying to please you or impress you way. It was almost just a level of class that exuded out of her. Just sophistication, very graceful. The tables were always beautifully arranged. The food was prepared by chefs, and it was absolutely delicious. And then after dinner, Ghislaine disappeared. Eventually, she comes back to the dinner table holding a big stack of silk scarves.
Wait till you hear
Everyone,
this.
come. We're going to play a game. She starts passing out the scarves only to men. Blindfold yourselves. The objective of the game is all the men will have their eyes covered, and the women will take off all of our tops and bras, and we will walk around letting the guys guess who is who based on how the breasts feel. Based on weight, cup size, they can guess.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, most of the guys were like, now that's how you throw a dinner party.
Could you imagine? Imagine that.
They really liked Ghislaine. They thought, what a cool girl. But the girls, they feel so uncomfortable and in a way betrayed. Like, what woman in their right mind would peer pressure all these other women into a game like this?
Yeah. And are they couples or is
No.
everyone single?
Some couples, some single. People said Ghislaine was more like a man than a woman, and that's why men liked her. She was sharp, witty, a night owl. Not saying that that's like male specific. Okay, but that's what people were saying about her. And she only wore the most expensive clothes, like broke or not, she only wore the most expensive clothes. And she just had these very interesting ways of flirting. I don't know if you can call it flirting. Allegedly,
It's probably manipulation, right? And the coercive control and behavior that she was probably groomed to display herself by her own father.
one time at a wedding, Ghislaine was flirting with a married man. Not the groom, but a guest, married nonetheless. And
I'll explore core. That's so funny about the buy me a coffee. I was looking at it the other day, and I used to get them all the time, and I haven't, but just so people know when I do get them, I not only get excited, but I give you a video response back thanking you. It's so funny.
she's caressing his arm, laughing at his jokes. And his wife comes up behind him like, who the hell is this lady trying to rub up on my husband? The husband turns to introduce his wife to Ghislaine, but Ghislaine looks her up and down. And what is this?
Could you imagine?
Ghislaine oops her arm around the husband's arm and walks him off into the crowd. At another party, Ghislaine walked up to a writer. I believe this is the first time they're meeting. This writer is married. They're 3 minutes into a random, bland, pleasant conversation, small talk. The writer's wife is like 5 feet away. Ghislaine looks him in the eye mid-conversation, interrupts him. If you lose 10 pounds, I'll f*** you. Another guy dropped her off at her townhouse, and when she got out of the car, she leaned down through the window and said, if you come in and f*** me, I'll tell you the secrets of my father. It was, aggressive. It's like the concept of whatever I want.
So this is a great question real quick, and I feel like I need to wait. So one says, okay, so do you think she acted that way because that's all she knew? Like that, like her world is so different than ours. So how would you know any different if you drove the same street your whole life? So I totally agree with what you're saying there to an extent. So think of how many other people have lived privileged lives that don't turn out like Ghislaine Maxwell, right? Now, this is what I will say. We talk about psychopathy and sociopathy, both of which are part of a larger spectrum called antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder is what we really define it as in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. But if we're looking at the difference between, like, when people talk about psychopathy versus sociopathy, she would fit more of a sociopath, meaning that she has enough empathy that she can use empathy meaning that her mirror neuron system is working in a way that she can, like most of us, tell other people's emotions. She then can use that to her advantage. The part that differs is that antisocial trait of not feeling guilt and remorse the way that you and I would. So part of that is genetic and part of that is environmental. So I would say that it would be a mixture of genetics and environment and not necessarily because think about it, she had 9 other brothers and sisters and she's the only one that turned out this way. Now, you could also say she was the only one that was spoiled the way that she was by her father, and I would say that that's where the sociopathy part comes in, because it's social, it's learned, right? So some of that is learned. So in my opinion, she used that ability to get further and to get where she wanted. She wasn't like a guy, you know what I mean? She was like a woman. She was just playing the game that the guys were playing, and she was playing it like they would. And I think that that's what they were identifying with, and she was able to hold her own. She was very charming, or is rather, she's still around. She's very charming, apparently, when you talk to her. She's like a person, she speaks very, even when she was freaking out with her friends crying about being broke, they said she was still saying it so delicately. So there's just so much here.
I get it was just embedded into her DNA. It appears like she could not process any other outcome for her life. Other times it wasn't as straightforward. She would allegedly meet a man at a high society party, lift her eyes up at them, and a lot of them describe her way of looking at people as utterly compelling. She was very charismatic, very magnetic.
You could tell. Look at the way she even takes a photo. She's looking directly into the camera. I don't know. She exudes confidence to me. The fact that she gets her bang in her eye and doesn't blink, I don't know. That just sounds... No, I'm just joking.
Almost in a cruel way. Like, you know that she's mean, but for some reason you want her to like you. The moment she looked at you, you would engage in 2 seconds of small talk with Ghislaine, because this is your first time meeting, right? And you'd say things like, well, I work in finance, and the main will you take me out to dinner? She would just say it so casually, like, oh, I like your pants. Kind of like that. And it works most of the time. I mean, it didn't hurt that Ghislaine is beautiful. She's really electric. You wanted to be around her because it almost made you feel good. Like, this is a really cool person, and if they enjoy spending time with me, that must mean I'm cool.
Okay, that right there is the result of, in my opinion, personality disordered behavior. It takes somebody to have disordered behavior to have other people react to them in such a way.
That's how Ghislaine made you feel. So one of the guys ends up taking her to dinner to this nice little restaurant, and for the first half of dinner, I mean, everything's going well. She's a great conversationalist. I mean, nothing ever felt boring with her. And then halfway through the dinner, the conversation of her dad comes up very subtly. It's not like he's like, who's your dad? Tell me about your dad. Did he die? What happened? It just seemed casual. It would have been one remark and that's it, but it wasn't. She did not talk about anything else the whole dinner. I mean, once that conversation about her dad came up, all she talked about was how great her dad was, how incredible it was to be a part of his family, and how great he did for his businesses, how she would open up the daily newspaper and there would be an article about him because he was that prominent of a figure. By the end of the dinner, she had been so loud and people were so interested in the story of her billionaire father, the entire restaurant was quiet and listening in. And it was so odd. The man said, you know, on one hand, Ghislaine is so confident and magnetic and she's so straightforward. She's constantly hitting on guys and making the first move. But on the other hand, you could tell that she's severely insecure. It felt...
Okay, so that's very narcissistic, right? So she appears to be self-confident and like she has it all together, but at the core she seems insecure. And then Explore Core says, the impression I got from the documentary, I don't know what documentary you're talking about, but I want to watch it, so please let me know, is that everything about Ghislaine has sexual undertones or sexual innuendos involved. What other people do we see this with, right? So we talked about Casey Anthony, we've talked about Jodi Arias, right? So we see this sometimes, and when we do see this, we often see this as a way, even if you look at with Chris Watts, what was his girlfriend's name? Oh my God, Nicole Kessinger, she even used sexuality, right? So this will sometimes happen in people with narcissistic traits. As far as Ghislaine being groomed from the start and it's all she knew, I do agree with that. The thing is that there's a lot of people, there's probably even people in the chat right now that were also groomed, maybe not in that way, but in different ways by different people in their life. And a lot of them just turned out to be people that had to do what they had to do in the moment to survive, but but later on are like traumatized by it and are like, F you for doing that to me type thing, or for putting me in that situation. Where here, she excels at it. And in my opinion, she probably wasn't the first child that he tried to groom to be like a mini-me of his. She was the last one, but that says to me that he probably tried 8 other times, and it wasn't until Ghislaine that he found a personality put together in a way that afforded him the opportunity to groom her successfully, if that makes sense. And we also have to remember that her brother, in my opinion, because he goes into a coma 2 days after her birth, I think she has an extreme attachment disorder. She didn't build the attachments that she should have with her parents. I think that her mother, just like any other mother, was totally traumatized by the son, and he lives for 7 years, so I'm sure those first 5 years are so important for attachment, especially in the first year and stuff. You're building a sense of trust versus mistrust, and I mean, who knows, she probably built a sense of mistrust. So any form of attention she got from her dad probably felt so special to her, so she probably then, that was positive reinforcement for her to continue to behave in a way that pleased him. That's where we start to see the environment shape. So we use rewards and punishments, things like that. Even the time when she's 22 and she's hysterical crying under the table, he ignored it. He totally ignored it. So like, he used rewards and punishments and coercive control, grooming, all of the things with her. And that's the part that, yes, she absolutely was groomed. She absolutely was raised like that. But in my opinion, she probably was the one that was groomed out of the 9 of them, because she fit the profile, personality-wise, that matched his most from all the kids.
Like, she's got a lot going on inside. And like a nice gentleman, he probably thought maybe it's best to let her work through these things on her own before she starts dating people. But to some guys, they are drawn to that insecurity. They can smell it from a mile away, like blood in the water. And Jeffrey Epstein was one of those guys. One day, Christina gets a call from Ghislaine. Christina's an author and kind of an acquaintance of Ghislaine. I mean, I would hardly call them friends. They're cordial, they know of each other, they run in the same circles, but that's about it. Christina gets this call out of the blue. You need to come over right now. Christina rushes to meet up with Ghislaine at her apartment, and the minute that she walks into the door, it's like she's getting pitched. Ghislaine is confident, her voice is strong. You're gonna make a lot of money, Christina. You are going to meet everyone. Your life is about to change. I'm sorry, what's going on? Live with me for a year. Move in so you can learn everything about me. And you're going to help me write a book. I'm sorry, what? The book isn't entirely a bad idea. I mean, Ghislaine does have a lot of high-profile friends. Her dad was mysteriously dead billionaire Robert Maxwell. She was also super close with members of the British royal family while she was studying at Oxford.
Oh my gosh, look at that. And yes, she studied at Oxford.
He funded Prince Andrew. She bragged about how she made Princess Diana cry. Yeah, just another reason.
Could you imagine bragging about making Princess Diana cry?
Take Ghislaine. She went to the Clintons' daughter's wedding. I mean, she was connected to all the people who ruled the world. But it's still such an odd, random request. Like, they don't even know each other. Live with her for a year. Like, drop everything in Christina's life and live with Ghislaine for a year. Do people even care that much about her at this point? Christina is not convinced, and I think Ghislaine could see that. So she switches her tone, and she stands in front of her big window overlooking the city. And
yes, Ghislaine, I'm agreeing. I said Ghislaine, okay? I just read the word Ghislaine. I meant to say Explorer and Explorer. I'm not calling you Ghislaine. I literally read the word Ghislaine and said, instead of saying Explorer. 100%. 100%. She definitely was groomed too. Higgins says, I completely understand. Oh, it's a littler devil. Oh. Yes, you were targeted because you were adopted and you just wanted a family so bad. See? Well, I'm glad to hear that you don't feel fear anymore. I bet you did, A. Higgins. Wow. What an empowering, wow, thank you for sharing that with us.
she says, you have to write this book for me because I want Jeffrey to marry me. I need him to see me in a more elevated light with a book written about me. He'll do it. He'll marry me if there's a book on me. Okay, Christina's like, now it's clicking. Christina now understands why.
So think about that, right? That would be something that we would often see with somebody, maybe with narcissism, but also like a borderline type trait. But this is the thing. I see more of like narcissism and antisocial, and I think what happens is, I think that this is just my opinion, I think that although she originally wants to marry him and all these things, they do. She goes on, I don't know if we got to it yet, but Stephanie goes on to tell us that Ghislaine apparently said that her and Jeffrey slept together just a few times. I think, like we were saying earlier, I don't know that he was attracted to Ghislaine in the same way. I think he was attracted to her, but I think he's seen her more as someone who can help him gain influence. And for her, she saw him, in my opinion, as this like knight in shining armor who filled the void of her dad. So think about how antisocial, that is of him to even let her, think that he might even be interested in that way. You know what I mean? But I think eventually she realizes, in my opinion, that it's we're friends or nothing type thing. So she'd rather have him as a friend. And that's my opinion, but that's what I think.
We're Jewish. So that is a really bizarre. She just says, I just don't eat.
I still think she was obsessed type thing. I mean, I don't know how strong of a word I want to say, but I still think she had, she was preoccupied, let's say that, with him.
The reason that Jeffrey keeps me around to begin with is that I don't make mistakes. It was such an odd conversation. What does that even mean? Are they dating? If so, what kind of mistakes are you talking about? I mean, it seemed like they were less of a couple and more like a team. The author remembers going to parties thrown by Ghislaine at Jeffrey Epstein's massive townhouse in Manhattan, one of, like I said, the largest private residences. She would show up and Bill Clinton would just be there. Or sometimes Prince Andrew would just be in attendance, and it seemed like a two-person team. Ghislaine would be connected to all these powerful people through the Maxwell name. She would bring them to Jeffrey, into his den, literally and figuratively, and he would do business with them. So Ghislaine was more old money in that sense. But not really. Okay, so it's complicated. The Maxwell family were actually ridiculed often in the UK for being nouveau rich, like new money rich, just obnoxious. They're not aristocrats. They're not royalty. They're not classy.
I'm so sorry. I just
connected.
Paused this again, but I want to say congratulations to A. Higgins for being sober for 3 years. You are an amazing person, and there are so many people in the same boat as you, so thank you for being so strong.
With a lot of people with titles. So compared to Jeffrey Epstein, who's just this vulgar finance dude on Wall Street.
So there you go. So she's pretty much saying, too, that Ghislaine brings him that that influence that he's looking for.
Over and over again, and we don't even realize it because it's so cunning. Ghislaine Maxwell seemed to be modeling Island, Little St. Jeff's, after her childhood. Whether this is intentional or subconscious, the similarities between the island and Ghislaine's childhood are eerily creepy. So we briefly went over the island in part 1, but Jeffrey Epstein owned an island in the U.S. Virgin Islands where he would take, honestly, whoever he wanted. Sometimes he held scientific conventions there where he and 20 of the top physicists in the world, including the likes of Stephen Hawking, would explore the concept of gravity. Other times he...
There you go. Did you just hear what she said? That was a great example. So Stephen Hawking comes up in the files, but not because he did anything terrible, but because Epstein invited him to the island to study gravity.
Would go there with his closest friends. Who's been on that island has been hotly debated. Names like Bill Clinton, Naomi Campbell, Stephen Hawking, Prince Andrew, the Obamas, they've all come up. Their presence on the island has all been debated. But the locals that were there, they knew that young girls were constantly on that island. They don't know about the Clintons or the Obamas or Naomi Campbell or any of these people, but they nicknamed Epstein's plane as the Lolita Express because every time he would fly in with a plane full of underage girls and they would be barely clothed, just lounging in the sun with Epstein. It's stated by victims that the island is where a lot of the trafficking and the, quote, loaning out to celebrities, CEOs, world leaders happened. Because of how secure it is, the island is controlled by Epstein. It's his own lawless land. You can only get to it by landing his private jet on a nearby bigger island, then taking his helicopter to Little St. Jeff's. Allegedly, Epstein purchased a ton of sea urchins, like the spiky-shelled black balls, to put into the ocean, to spread throughout, so that nobody could get on or off his island without him knowing about it. It's basically like being completely deserted on an isolated island.
So think about that. Not only was he able to use his money to fantasize and create mansions full of his fantasies, like with the boobs in the bathroom type thing on the wall. Not only do we have that, but now, talk about antisocial, talking about thinking that you're above everything. Let me ask you guys a question. Well, I guess he would have to... If he would have been on that island, would they have been able to come and arrest him or no? How would that have worked? because we're not talking about extraditing now on that part. They said that they don't think that he had any idea that it was coming, and that's why he went back.
There have been allegations of rituals being held on the island where the rich and influential have sacrificed children in
I
exchange
don't
for
think
more
so,
power.
Harlot.
Allegations of group intimate relations with world leaders and underage children. It's also alleged that what we know about everything that happened on the island is only tip of the iceberg. It's stated that a big group of Jeffrey Epstein's victims on the island were foreigners, underage foreigners from Eastern Europe, that were flown in to be trafficked, abused, and then flown back with threats and fear. It's been corroborated to a degree by another victim from the island that said this was true, and that Epstein would joke about how it's perfect because they don't have to listen to the girls talk because nobody understands their language. There are allegations
that's
that victims'
horrible.
passports were
Think about how horrible of a person you have to be to even think something like that.
confiscated on the island and it became a jail. They had lost all ability to say no to anything. They were completely powerless. But the frustrating thing is, we don't know for 100% certain what happened on that island. We know bits and pieces from victims, but the full scale of all the crimes that took place, I don't know if we'll ever know. But I can present you with some of the stuff that we do know. And what we know about this island and how it was run, it seems alarmingly similar to Ghislaine's childhood. So I'm going to try to give you little bits and pieces of both because it's kind of eerie. A lot of this was told in Sarah Ransom's book, where she was lured to the island by a friend of hers. She was recruited, essentially, to the island. She gets there, her passport's taken, she has no way off, and she's being assaulted. It's bad. So, growing up, Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, believed that his whole life, women are just there strictly for men's pleasure. I mean, they're strictly...
So let me just tell you guys, I don't remember this part, so I don't know that I got this far.
There as objects to be used at his convenience. He would hit on other women in front of his wife. He would hit on those women's daughters in front of that woman and in front of his wife. I mean, women for him were just a good time. That's it. On the island, Sarah remembers Ghislaine was going to be arriving separately from everyone. And Sarah was so nervous and excited to finally meet this woman that every other girl on the island was talking about. Some even called her Mama Bear. One girl told her she's powerful, wealthy, and she knows everybody. Don't cross her. Just stay out of her way, and you're going to be fine. Just do whatever she tells you to do. When Ghislaine's helicopter landed, Sarah nervously waved hello when Ghislaine got off, because what else are you supposed to do? Ghislaine looked her up and down, walked past her, because to Ghislaine, just like Robert Maxwell, Sarah and these other girls were nothing. They are trash. Growing up, Ghislaine's dad trained her to be some sort of a ranger, connector. She was always putting two people together. So when her dad...
This is so interesting, you guys. Literally, the parallels are eerie.
Robert would host parties at the Hill Hall. Ghislaine was expected to bring people she thought would be interesting for her dad, or bring people that would be interesting for her dad's friends, i.e. very young women. And she was really good at it. Ghislaine would always find the right people to connect. She knew how to read people. She knew how to read the room. She knew exactly what people were looking for. Ghislaine would make such seamless, smooth introductions between two parties that you would never even know that all of this was masterfully planned and meticulously executed by Ghislaine. She just had a way of making everything, normalizing every single social interaction.
Oh, remember the beginning of tonight in one of my slides, I was talking about normalizing grooming.
Island. Sarah claimed Ghislaine would wake her up in the middle of the night to go service Epstein. Even if she told Ghislaine she was bleeding from the assaults from earlier that day, Ghislaine would calm her down and forcibly drag her if she needed to, because her job is to connect the two. She's there to arrange the meeting between Sarah and Jeffrey Epstein, and she was going to get her job done. Growing up, it said Ghislaine developed an
Oh, wow. Oh my God, is that her mom? Look at those bangs.
at just 3 years old. They say it's one of the main reasons that the Maxwells spoiled Ghislaine more than the rest of the kids.
She had an eating disorder at 3 years old.
Her parents felt like she was really neglected when she was a baby. So right around the time of Ghislaine's birth, the eldest son of the Maxwell family had slipped into a coma. And a lot of people were just not paying attention to Ghislaine. And it's speculated by Ghislaine's parents that Ghislaine developed a terrible eating disorder at just 3 years old to try and receive some attention. On the island,
think about, okay, so remember when we were talking too about like the mixture of genetics and environment? Here you could say there's a certain personality type that would be able at 3 years old to even understand to protest via food. It's really interesting. It's so possible too.
Ghislaine tells Sarah she's too heavy. You being 5'9" and 146 pounds is not to Jeffrey's liking. Ghislaine would make sure that all the delicious food that the chef prepared were off limits to Sarah. All the snacks would be locked up. When the rest of the group would sit down to eat, Sarah was given thin slices of cucumber, tomato, and tiny, tiny portions of meat. The other girls would glance at her, and Sarah, she can't leave this island. She's being abused. There's no way out. There's no escape. She's miserable, and now she's being starved. She's taking giant gulps of water in between bites of cucumber to try and fill her stomach. Growing up, Ghislaine had these Sunday weekly reviews. Every Sunday during family dinner, the Maxwell kids would be instructed to stand around the dinner table. They can't sit down. They would have to stay standing until Father Maxwell would walk in, and the room would be silent. Everyone would have their shoulders pushed back, their chest forward, and they would wait for him to sit down at the seat at the head of the table, and he would probably say something along the lines of, "Proceed." The children would have to go one by one, giving a full presentation to Robert Maxwell about what they did this week, what they achieved, and what they hope to achieve next week. If he didn't like their responses, they don't get to sit down. They don't get to eat. He would take off their belt and whip them, and then send them up to their rooms where they would have to write him an apology letter after getting whipped.
Okay, if that's not abusive, I don't know what is.
On the island, Ghislaine would have Sarah stand up at the dinner table and had all the other girls point out all the, quote, fat parts of her body. And she would laugh, "You're enormous. If you didn't eat for an entire month, you'd still be overweight and disgusting."
What? Oh my God. That is so horrible.
Other days, she would grab Sarah's waist at the dinner table, have Sarah stand up and start poking at her waist. "Look how massive you are today. It looks like we need to cut down even on cucumbers." Ghislaine told her the only acceptable weight for her at that height was 114 pounds, which would actually classify Sarah as underweight. But Ghislaine did not care. Growing up, Ghislaine's mom never stepped in to help when the kids were being belittled or berated by Robert Maxwell. She took a very passive approach. Some would even argue that she let it happen. On the island, there were a lot of girls that looked at Ghislaine like a mother figure.
Remember I talked about that passive language and stuff, and like the passivity that has to occur for something like this to continue? That's exactly what was happening.
Shantae was one of those girls. Shantae came to the island because she thought this was a great opportunity to become a masseuse. She remembered the first time on the island, she felt like she was in a fantasy land. She was a princess. Everyone had their own separate villas that were separated from each other, and the beautiful candlelit dinner. I mean, Shantae went back to her villa, and someone had lit a candle in the room, left a book on the nightstand, and had a mosquito net set up around her bed. It's like a dream. She remembered the first night she plopped down on her bed thinking, this is gonna be the best job in the world. I get to travel the world, and I just do massages? Incredible. She starts reading her book. She's getting ready to fall asleep when she hears a knock on the door. It's one of Epstein's assistants. Jeffrey's ready for his massage. Shantae thought it was odd, but she was hired to be a masseuse, and technically it's a private island. Maybe island time works differently. I mean, she tried to convince herself this is completely normal, right? Because if you're hired to be a private masseuse, it's not like you just work business hours. She follows Jeffrey's assistant, goes to his villa. The massage table was all set up, and the waves were crashing outside on the rocks.
This is so gross. Could you imagine this poor girl?
And Shantae kept thinking, well, okay, this is a little uncomfortable, but at least Ghislaine is nearby, because I don't know if that's his girlfriend or his wife or what, but she's like the mom of the group. Shantae waited for Jeffrey, and he burst in with a rope, threw it off, and climbed onto the table. He looked incredibly smug, she said. Then he grabbed her wrist and tugged her toward the bed, pulled her on top of him, and he assaulted her. She stated the more she struggled, the more fun he was having. When he was done, he just jumped up, left her there, hopped into the shower. Shantae said she was so traumatized, she got up, threw on her shorts, ran all the way back to her villa without her shoes, cutting up completely. The whole bottom of her feet was all bloody, and she cried herself to sleep. And she kept thinking, there were so many people. Ghislaine was there. She was nearby. She knew Ghislaine heard her scream, and Ghislaine did nothing. There were 70...
So there you go. That's what I'm talking about there. So Ghislaine heard her cries and did nothing. Imagine what type of person you have to be.
Because, I don't know, you have a wish to be imprisoned. I don't advise anyone to do that. But if you must, even though he's not a member. I don't know if that's against the club rules. I don't know if the rich are allowed to break club rules.
Okay, so she said that he goes to Mar-a-Lago, even though he's not a member.
Allegedly, Ghislaine was the one who knew Trump, not Epstein, and through Epstein's connection with Ghislaine, Epstein started visiting Mar-a-Lago, even though he's not a member. I don't know if that's against the club rules, I don't know if the rich are allowed to break club rules, but it seemed like Trump didn't really care. Until one day, he gets a call from a very angry member. He states that his young daughter was laying out by the pool when a man approached her, giving her some sort of reason on why she needed to go to his mansion. And she went, probably assuming everyone at the club was at least familiar with her family, maybe a family friend. It'd probably be safe. So she went. And he tried to convince her to get naked. So she ran out of there, called her dad, who immediately directly called Trump, very upset about what transpired, and Epstein was banned from ever stepping foot on Mar-a-Lago ever again.
That is a crazy
That's a crazy story,
but
right?
Ghislaine wasn't. Virginia said the same thing happened to her, but she didn't have rich parents to call Trump.
Virginia was a changing room assistant at Mar-a-Lago, making $9 an hour. Her dad worked there as a maintenance manager. One day, Virginia found her dad at work, and she was excitedly telling him about this new opportunity that she had. One of the very wealthy members had asked her if she wanted to work for her and earn...
So pretty much Ghislaine gets her to come and make more money, and this is her.
Virginia stated that she was essentially loaned out to basically service all the other high-powered friends that Epstein and Maxwell had. Virginia said, I was trained to be everything a man wanted me to be. It wasn't just full training. They wanted me to be able to cater to all the needs of the men they were going to send me to. They said that they loved that I was very compliant and knew how to keep my mouth shut about what they expected me to do. Epstein and Ghislaine also told me that they wanted me to produce information for them, in addition to performing on the men. They told me to pay attention to the details about the men so that I could report back to them. Virginia stated that she was terrified. She said she couldn't leave or speak up sooner because he could have had me killed or abducted, and I knew he was capable of that if I didn't obey him. She said, I realized that my only purpose for Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and their friends was to be used for sex. Virginia stated that she was working with them, and Jeffrey had sex with underage girls on a daily basis. She said his interest in this kind of was obvious to the people around him. The activities were so obvious and bold that anyone spending any significant time at any one of Jeffrey Epstein's residences would have clearly been aware of what was going on.
Wow, imagine that. And this girl, unfortunately, goes on to self-exit.
I was very alone and there was no way out. It's speculated that humans evolved to be able to sense when others are looking at us and watching us. Everyone at the Daily Mirror, Ghislaine's dad's company, knew that Robert Maxwell was watching them. He would bug the executives' phones. It was known that people at the Daily Mirror would have meetings where they just wrote down their thoughts rather than saying it because everyone knew that Robert Maxwell was listening to them. Even at home, Robert Maxwell would hide recording devices into antique lamps because he wanted to hear everything his family was saying about him at all times.
Wow. Oh, well, that is such an insecure thing to do, but something so narcissistically clear and something overstepping boundaries, and there's something so antisocial about it as well. There's so many things wrong with that.
Jeffrey Epstein allegedly did the same thing. Sarah Ransom states that every inch of his properties, including the island, was monitored with cameras, every single inch. Robert Maxwell watched Ghislaine and everybody else in his life. Ghislaine and Jeffrey watched all their victims, but someone was watching Jeffrey. And I think he knew it. He had a new addition to his art collection, a photorealistic painting he personally commissioned that depicted a prison scene with him in the middle of barbed wires and guards. This is after he got out of prison the first time. So he gets a photo commissioned, like a painting commissioned of him in prison. And he told a friend about the painting, and he said, that's me. I want this painting so that I am always remembering the possibility that that could be me again. Like, I could always go back to prison. Which is objectively, I guess, a smart reminder.
Except for it didn't work.
Jeffrey got too comfortable and forgot that people are watching him. July 8th, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested for conspiracy to commit trafficking and trafficking of underage girls in New York State. It's likely he didn't know that he was being watched or investigated or studied because he got aboard his private jet, flew in from Paris, landed in New Jersey, where he was greeted by a fleet of cars, the FBI and NYPD.
So I already
knew what was going on and what color she was going to wear. He asked her, wait, what are you going to wear? And she's like, oh, that you just...
Let me rewind that part.
Parties in her undergarments. Ghislaine was now spending all her time at dinner parties talking about saving the ocean, the deep...
Oh, wait, this is the part.
Massages, even after he got out.
I'm so sorry.
Years later, just like the Maxwell Empire, the Epstein Empire was going to crumble down in disgrace, and everything that Ghislaine had worked for the past 10 years was gone, down the drain. Yeah, sure, this trafficking ring, yeah, okay, that's down the drain, but additionally, Ghislaine kept herself very, very busy after Jeffrey's first arrest in 2008, 10 years ago, okay? She wanted to completely reinvent herself to be a new woman, the water woman. Side note, Jeffrey and Ghislaine were very much close after his first arrest. It didn't seem like anything ever really changed. People said that Ghislaine was still organizing and planning all of Epstein's massages, even after he got out of prison, but she also created a network, like a method where girls would recruit other girls, and she would just kind of sit at the top to make sure everything was going accordingly. Ghislaine was reinventing herself after Jeffrey Epstein came out of prison the first time. She started her own nonprofit called Terra Mar in 2012. She said it was her project for humanity. The focus was on cleaning up the 8 million metric tons of plastic debris.
Oh my God, so that was just a way to try to change her image clearly.
She did not donate a single cent. And her trafficking partner in crime is now sitting in prison for the second time, suspiciously dead, just like her dad. Jeffrey Epstein was found suspended in his jail cell. His death was officially deemed a self-exit, but there's even a Wikipedia page called Jeffrey Epstein Isn't Dead. So there's a few camps of people out there. One group that thinks that he self-exited, another group that thinks that he was killed, and one group that thinks that he's not dead at all, that he's alive, and the Jeffrey Epstein in that cell is a look-alike. So let's explore the first theory very briefly, the official theory. Jeffrey Epstein self-exited. Experts stated that Jeffrey Epstein had no defensive wounds, and just going over his last few days in prison, people said that it was very tumultuous.
A few days before Jeffrey's death, it stated that his state was declining very rapidly in regards to his mental health. It was reported that he was agitated, he couldn't properly sleep, the toilet in his unit kept running. So the prison had a toilet overflowing plumbing problem, so the whole place was infested with like feces, urine, and infested with rats and cockroaches. He couldn't sleep because the toilet was running all night and he had sleep apnea. So he would allegedly sit in the corner, sleep deprived, rocking back and forth, covering his ears, calling himself a coward. Sometimes he would just crawl up on the floor and try to sleep on the floor. He stopped showering. His beard was...
If he was doing that and calling himself a coward, that, in my opinion, is probably ideation. And, oh, wow. And you guys, think about that. Think about how when you're really tired, and we're not even talking about a similar situation here. So then, like, make that extreme. He knows the things that he's being alleged of. So he has to know that this is the end of the road for him, right? He knows that the FBI busted and did all the raids and da-da-da-da-da. And now he's not getting sleep. This is nothing like what he's used to as far as his daily life. He no longer has control. Once you go to jail, you have no more control. You no longer have rights. They're all taken away from you. So he just went from somebody who was at his own island, who made his own laws, who was like the king of his island, to now being a prisoner in someone else's house. And that might have been just too much for him, you guys, and that could have been enough, in my opinion, especially because 2 days before he does all that stuff with the other woman that he leaves all the stuff to and all. He signs out 2 days before. All of that just says to me, oh wow, that's so interesting. That just says to me, I think, that it might have been that. But who knows? It could have been anything.
Unkept, and a few days before his death, he attempted to self-exit.
Oh, I didn't
know that. The
psychologist
stated, inmate has multiple risk factors for self-exiting as identified by BOP statistics. Let's be proactive. Jail officials noted in logs that Epstein was, quote, sitting at the edge of his bed, lost in thought, and, quote, sitting with his head against the wall. Another facility assistant emailed the jail official stating Epstein seemed, quote, dazed and withdrawn. She wrote, just to be on the safe side, can someone from site come and talk to him? He also left a meeting with his attorney to go call his mom. His mom has been dead for 15 years. So it's speculated that perhaps he was losing his grip.
What? What?
Just to be on the safe side, can someone from site come and talk to him? He also left a meeting with his attorney to go call his mom. His mom has been dead for 15 years. So it's speculated that perhaps he was losing his grip. Others felt like by self-exiting, Epstein was getting the last laugh. I mean, it's like he was saying, screw you, which a lot of people close to him said that it would fit exactly what Epstein would do. He was someone that wanted to have control until the very last end.
I totally agree with that. That's what I was just saying too. And so by doing this to himself, it was his way of saying, I'm going to get the last word in my life. That now that he's behind jail and he has no more rights, that's what I was getting at. That he has no more rights, he has no more control of his life. And this is the one way that he regains control in the very end, is by creating his own destiny and not
Thanks for the sub.
Oh, thank you for the sub. And for not having to sit through a trial and hearing all the people testify against him and him being disgraced and all those things. So that was his way of taking matters into his own hands, in my opinion.
He wanted to have the final laugh, the final say, the final word. Days before Epstein's death, he was making adjustments in his will that would impact how his assets were going to be handled. He changed it so that his $500 million-ish fortune would go to a trust in the U.S. Virgin Islands, the 1953 trust, named after the year he was born. But we have no idea who the benefactors of this trust are. For all we know, he could still be paying the people who helped him commit these crimes.
Oh my God.
Right now?
Yeah.
You guys, so we do know because we watched Jesse Weber tonight. It's that girl. And then he left $10 million to Ghislaine and $10 million to his brother.
Blackmail on powerful people. The theory, the conspiracy, the same source does not think that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. They stated that he is way too important to way too many people. There are stories that came out that Jeffrey Epstein had every single guest bedroom and every single property, even the bathrooms, wired with secret hidden cameras. He was able to record very powerful people having sex with underage girls. He had saved all of those tapes and used those to gain his own power and wealth, and that's why nobody knows how he even made his money. A lot of victims stated they never saw him work a day in his life. No business calls, like nothing. It was weird. And nobody really knows how he made his money. Netizens say it aligns with victims coming forward saying that Epstein would tell them to snoop on all these men that they were being abused by and bring him all these salacious, secretive details about them. But then on the other side, you have people saying, but why haven't there been official mention of any of these videos? Or why haven't they been, not released, but taken in for evidence and everybody involved would have been arrested? The conspiracy theorists say, well, because everyone in the videos are too powerful. Not in this.
Okay, so it's my opinion. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, at least not here. You guys have to remember, I look at human behavior, and it's hard enough for one person to keep a secret, let alone a group of people, for everybody to just take something to their grave. It's nearly impossible, in my opinion. I also think that if somebody went and took him out, and let's say there were videos there, wouldn't they be afraid then that, like, the FBI would raid everything and find those videos? Like, wouldn't Epstein be worth more to them alive than dead? I don't know.
Sense that they can control the government, but in the sense that if they all go down, the world will see just how corrupt our world leaders are and our industry moguls are, and people will turn from the government. All trust, the social contracts will be broken. There will be some sort of uprising. That's the theory by netizens. It would be too damaging, because it's not just one politician. It might be all of them. There are conspiracy theorists who believe that world order would be absolutely destroyed with the knowledge of these tapes existing getting out. And then you have the theory that he's not really dead. There is an alleged photo of Epstein from his cell, dead, and allegedly the photo doesn't add up with the facial proportions. So his ears and nose don't match his photo when he's alive, the side profile.
What?
So
His ears and nose. But didn't he hang himself? I don't know about that. You guys look. This right here is the same as this right here. And then it goes like that, goes like that. That looks pretty similar to me. He has the unattached earlobe in both. His eyebrows. I don't know. This pretty much looks like him to me. This right here could be a swollen nose. Just like the rest of his face looks swollen. Look at his cheeks. They look swollen too. So does his forehead. I think that's from the way that he, self-exited, if you will.
alleged photo of him dead shows a much more curved nose at the bottom, at the tip, and the nose bridge is a bit slopier. But Jeffrey Epstein's side profile from when he's alive, the nose bridge is a bit straighter, and it's a little bit more pointed at the tip. His ear, the alleged photo of him dead, the ear cartilage is a lot spinier and busier. There's more ear cartilage, showing in his ear, and it looks like. But when he's alive...
Yeah, but look at this. Ready? Look at this, though. I have to... Look, if we look at this here and this here, it looks like these two match up. Do you see that? As far as... I know they're the same picture, but the way that they outlined it. Look, it has a skinny thing here. That's the same thing right here. And then this part right here is the same as there. And that part right there is the same as there. And you can see the cartilage down the middle. And look, it goes like this. It goes like a Y at the end. And so does it over here. It goes like a Y at the end. I don't know. That's pretty similar to me.
The side profile, it doesn't look like that. So, for those reasons, some people believe that he's out there, living with his $500 million trust, living his best life. So Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is on the run. Ghislaine Maxwell was not arrested. She had multiple citizenship, so she could technically be anywhere. Paris, Brazil, in a bunker, in a submarine. We don't even know how much money she has access to at this point, or even now. So July 2nd, 2022, 11 months after Jeffrey Epstein's death, in a tree-lined hill of New Hampshire, in a cabin, which cabin makes it sound like she's in the woods, being one with nature. This cabin is massive. It's surrounded by endless beautiful pine trees. It's a luxury oasis. There's a giant window that's 2 stories tall that's letting in all this sunlight. It's secluded. It's isolated. I would imagine if I had to rent this cabin for a month, it'd be tens of thousands of dollars. It's a beautiful, luxurious, well-equipped facility. And it even has an ironic name. It's called Tucked Away. Helicopters.
So wait, real quick. I think that in my opinion, I think he's gone too. And so A. Higgins says, Harlot, why do you think they lied about so much around his unaliving? In my opinion, it's because I think that the jail had a huge lawsuit and did things the wrong way. There were cameras. I think there was a lot of negligence. I think that they were supposed to be watching him around the clock and they weren't. Now, could could people have been he's a piece of crap or whatever? Don't even buy. Who knows? But I don't know. If I found, my second thing would be that he is alive somewhere before I think that there's a huge conspiracy like that. Because my thing is, apparently he was already, there the time where he was charged the first time, and people were already allegedly a part of all this back then. So wouldn't that have been a better time to just take him out right away rather than wait until the second? I don't know. It just seems, again, it's hard, in my opinion, I think it's hard for people to keep a secret.
Start flying up above the trees. Authorities and squad cars show up. Officers are hiding behind the tree trunks, and they know that Ghislaine Maxwell is in there, and they're not leaving until they get her.
So why is she in the U.S.?
We don't know. A lot of people speculate that she thought it would just die down. People would just
I
get over
read
it.
to see.
What? Yeah. This is a little goofy, but I mean, you have the FBI out there trying
I never saw a picture of his face straight on, I guess.
to get Ghislaine, and she knows this. She's done for. Like, she still tries to flee. She runs from room to room, trying to outrun the FBI. They eventually found her, caught her, and her phone was covered in tinfoil because she thought the aluminum foil would block her cell signal.
No way.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
She was arrested at 58 years old, and she was facing 38 years to 50 years in prison. Now, people who knew Ghislaine personally said that she was like a shark, a great white shark. A lot of people say
Oh my
that
God, she was facing 38 to 50 something years in prison. She got 20 years.
they are always best friends.
I don't get it. What is that?
It seems like she was writing it to submit it into some sort of article or newspaper. It's like she was just so obsessed with him. What kind of grown
She
woman
was.
talks about her relationship, barely their relationship, in third-person form? It's like she needs to convince people that they love each other. Then there are those who believe that Ghislaine was just a monster. She's just an evil parrot. People said that when she would come into work at her dad's office, because of course she got a job there, she was just, when her dad wasn't there, she would just try to copy her dad. She would parrot her dad. She would be incredibly loud and aggressive. It's just she didn't have her own personality.
Oh my God, that is such a personality disorder type thing, in my opinion. So she was trying it out to see how people reacted. And this is the thing. When you try out antisocial behaviors, because some of us do growing up, right? We'll try out different things. And it's the fact that afterwards we feel guilt and remorse. We feel bad about it. And we don't want to ever do something like that again because it made us feel really shitty type thing. Here, when she gets away with it or makes somebody feel less than, it empowered her, in my opinion, to just continue it because that meant that she was much like her dad. In the very beginning of this episode, Stephanie talks about how the dad, like people called her dad ruthless, like all these things. And instead of like being mad about it, he was like, oh yeah, I own it. He's like, I'm that and a bunch of other things too. And I think she wanted to emulate that. I think she saw that he was powerful. She probably thought that she could recreate what her dad did, but do it in a way that was successful, if that makes sense. She went to Oxford, right? So she had the education too. She was clearly intelligent. Almost like she'd be the better version of him. But then it doesn't work out exactly like that.
But she was rude. She was evil. She did everything for herself. That's all she cared about at the end of the day was herself. Even what she did for Jeffrey Epstein, all these girls were a means to an end. Just to give you an idea, I mean, the way that Ghislaine treated people, especially the house staff, is insane. I do think that this is kind of crazy. She wrote a 58-page booklet with hundreds of checklist items on how she wanted things done in the residence. She would get infuriated if someone broke the oftentimes completely unreasonable rules. The rules read, in the grooming guest relations section, appearance is extremely important if high standards are to be maintained. A favorable first impression goes a long way. Personal cleanliness, good presentation, and a genuine and polite aim to please approach are very important.
Oh my
Try and
God.
anticipate the needs of Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell and their guests. Make guests feel pampered and welcome. Do not discuss personal problems with guests. Remember that you see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing, except to answer a question directed at you. Inobtrusive is the key.
God.
Wear the appropriate clothing, dark blue trousers with white golf shirts to be worn daily, long sleeve white shirts for dinner service. Items in
OMG.
pockets must not create a bulge or be visible. Do not address Mr. Epstein, Miss Maxwell, and other guests with hands in your pockets. Do not chew gum. Avoid using strong perfume or aftershave lotion. This could cause an allergic reaction. And smile.
Oh
Another section is
my
titled proper
God.
language. What
What? Pay attention to how you speak to Mr. Epstein.
you say is as important as what you do. Your language must include good diction and exclude swear words and slang. You do not say, yeah, sure, no problem, you bet, gotcha, I don't know. You do say, yes, mister, of course, miss, my pleasure, it's no trouble at all, you're quite right. I would be very pleased to. I have no idea, but I will find out immediately. To a compliment, you must say, you are very kind. Thank you, miss, I enjoyed doing it. To justified criticism or
Wow.
mistakes, you say, I am very sorry, it will not happen again. It was completely my fault, and I will make the changes immediately. What to say when entering a room? May I come in? Greet whoever is inside the room. You do not expound on whether or any other subject unless asked. You provide your service and then ask, is there anything else I might do for you?
OMG. That is... Wow.
If not, leave the room. When answering the phone, do not slam the receiver at any time. All calls should be answered within 3 rings or less. It even has very strict rules for Ghislaine Maxwell's breakfast. Maxwell House coffee served with milk,
What?
freshly squeezed orange juice,
Stop it right now.
glass of water, 1 Weetabix with sliced banana, milk and sugar on the side. So, I guess it's up for you to interpret how you see Ghislaine. I will say, I don't think in any scenario she is the victim. But I guess it's the question of, is she a right-hand woman or is she the mastermind? Did she do what Jeffrey told her to do, or did she plan, execute, and mastermind a trafficking ring for the ultra-wealthy?
What do you guys think? I think she is, in my opinion, just as culpable, right? She made this, if anything, I would say shame on her for like letting these girls think that she was going to be like a protector for them, only to then betray them even more. I mean, they were already afraid. Now they must have been so fearful because it's bad enough, right? That, oh, this is terrible.
Ghislaine once said in an interview, you tell me one person you know and take 20 people who know that person, they're all going to give you different versions of what they think of that person. One victim stated Ghislaine was worse than Jeffrey. She said Ghislaine got off in her own way from these assaults. Ghislaine got off on making those high-powered men happy. She felt validated
What are you saying? No way. Well, I'm glad that you're here with us now.
from it. Before the trial, Ghislaine's attorney made a statement. They said, Ghislaine is in a very, very difficult condition. Conditions none of us wish on our worst enemies. I've never seen anything like it. It's the Epstein.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so A. Higgins says, I would think that some are predisposition based on genetics, but I think most are caused by environmental factors and milestone traumatic events that cause the brain to split again and again. So the brain doesn't split again and again. But if you mean, like, if there's sexual abuse, do you mean splitting? I just want to see if I know what you're saying. Do you mean splitting in the sense of identity, so like multiple identities or dissociative identity disorder is what we call it now? Do you mean like that? Because that is true. When children especially have sexual abuse, especially that's like it just happens over and over and over, they absolutely can, but it is so uncommon and so rare. Like a dissociation, yes. So you're thinking, okay, so absolutely. And people do dissociate, but having full-blown dissociative identity is very uncommon. And I don't know that we've seen anybody here with a dissociative identity. If anything, I see like complex PTSD and dissociation for sure, but maybe not to the point of dissociative identity disorder where there's multiples, at least not in my opinion.
Effect. Ghislaine's family has set up a website for her called realghislaine.com. Her brother defended her in an interview and stated, imagine yourself arrested and imprisoned in solitary confinement, deprived of bail for 9 months. Whatever your feelings about her allegations, she's entitled to a fair trial, to due process. My brothers and sisters and I will never stop fighting for Ghislaine. The trial itself was very messy, mainly on the defense part. Ghislaine's defense attorneys just kept trying to insinuate that it's unfair that a woman is taking the fall for a man. In their literal opening statements, they said, ever since Eve was tempting Adam with the apple, women have been blamed for the bad behavior of men. The charges against Ghislaine Maxwell are for things that Jeffrey Epstein did, but she is not Jeffrey Epstein. She is not like Jeffrey Epstein. A victim testified about her abuse that started when she was 14, but now she has overcome her trauma and became an actress. The defense attorneys were like, you're an actress? Well, can you cry on command? How do we know you're not crying on command right now?
Oh, that's what defense attorneys do, right? But she gets 20 years.
Or no. But Ghislaine responded to the judge, Your Honor, the government has not proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt, so there is no need for me to testify. In the end, December 29th, 2021, just a few days after Ghislaine's 60th birthday, Ghislaine was born on Christmas. The verdict came through, and Ghislaine was found guilty of 5 of the 6 charges. Ghislaine was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Her attorneys will be appealing, and Ghislaine states that she too is a victim of Jeffrey Epstein and was manipulated by him. She also states that when she gets out of prison, her life goal is to help others that have been incarcerated. So that's like Terramar 2.0. Ghislaine also stated that she wishes that she never met Jeffrey Epstein, had no idea how evil he was, and according to one source, Ghislaine is writing a book in prison. The source states that Ghislaine doesn't think that she's done anything wrong, and that once people read her book and they know her true story, she will be freed.
Okay, that right there just shows the narcissism of it all, right? And of course she could say whatever she wants about Jeffrey Epstein, because it just goes to show that she used him as much as he used her. Only I do think that she would have loved to be like his lady, like almost like she was daddy's little girl, but now she could be the partner. Oh my God! Thank you, Casey! Oh my God! Casey, that was so very kind to you, Casey. Hold on, let me put my thing on. Oh yeah. Oh, I love the eyes. Isn't that funny? Yay! Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of our dysfunctional family. Oh, no problem. No problem at all. Glad you're back. But you guys, what do you think about all this? That's crazy, right? It's a lot. Wait, let me see. I'm going to stop this. All right. It's been 3 hours. So I'm going to go because my ear hurts so bad. You've already been charged and convicted. They can't charge you twice for the same crime, dummy. However, those unveilings you committed would rebury you under that prison. Hi, you two bad actors. Where's Truth? Truth's here somewhere. I'm Delulu. So, wait, but she'll testify and tell everything if they grant her clemency. So this is the thing. From what I've heard, wait, you two bad actors didn't get notified, you guys. I bet you. So did somebody else say that. So we think we know why. We think it's because I wrote Epstein in, I'm like saying it low now, in the thing. No, it's not you. I think it's me. I think now I know I shouldn't put anything with his name in it, like in the title or the thumbnail. Just put something on there to where people know what it is without knowing what it is. And I think that's so it. Thank you for putting Rotten Mango's page up there. But thank you for sharing with us. That was so nice. Don't worry about it, because tomorrow, you two bad actors, and for all of you here, tomorrow at 8:30, Dr. Anya Schultz, my colleague, is coming back. And we're going to be talking about Epstein Island. Aww. Lynn, it's okay. You go in the replay crew. Wendy's here. Lynn's here. I'm just so happy that you guys are here. And listen, just in case, because I already set up the live for tomorrow, excuse me, but I made it not public for a second because I want to change the stuff so that it doesn't go through the algorithm the wrong way. So just make sure everybody at 8:30 tomorrow come and support Anya, because she's awesome. And those of you who have been here for a while already love Dr. Schultz. She's a colleague of mine at work, and she's awesome. So hopefully you guys will come back and watch the show with her. I hope. I can't believe people are just getting here. Why is it always when I'm like on hour 3 that people start? It's okay. It's not your fault. But again, I think I know what it is, because when I do other shows, I get a lot more. I think Harlot, I think you guys are right. I hope she'll lay back down. Fingers crossed. Oh no, is there a kid awake? Oh man, I woke up my own kid with that music. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my God, you guys. I was meaning in the title of the video. What about the, See, with the thumbnail, I just don't want to put his name anywhere now. Like, I think if I put a picture, that would let people know, but you're right. But you're right, it probably doesn't read the thumbnail as much as it does the, I got you. And I'm going to change that. But anyway, you guys, I love you all. My ear, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I'm going to the hospital, I'm at like a 6. And it takes a lot to get me that far. Well, the one ear. The other ear, I'm at like a 3, which sucks because I wasn't expecting that ear to also hurt. So, you're not sure about the thumbnail? Does anybody know if I should change my thumbnail to make it less? Like, even if I keep, like, I think I have a picture of the island on there, but I have on the top Epstein Island, so maybe I take Epstein off and put, what is it called? Little St. James or whatever. I'll use the proper name. Some of you live in a different time zone. Oh yeah, it's okay. The replay crew is better than nothing. No, I'm not going to go to the ER, Harlot. I was just like trying to give you guys a level of pain. I ain't going to the ER, don't worry. I ain't got time for that. Which is probably why my earaches are so bad right now, because I probably should have went. Put that, wait, just put Island LSJ, Little St. James. You're so smart, Sky. That's what I'll do. Oh, censor swears on thumbnails. Creepy guy with an island. That's too funny. Ugh. He is creepy. I'm gonna have dreams about the boobs on the wall in the bathroom. That's like weird. Wait, what does it say? Where are you? I'm in Idaho, so it's 11:20. I am in Pennsylvania, so it's 1:20. It is, it is. If it was 11:20, I'd keep going. But I didn't get done teaching until 9 o'clock. And I started at 8 a.m. I go hard. So I'm a little bit tired now. But that's also probably why my ears hurt, because I just keep going. And I know I didn't have to. I just wanted to. You're near Pittsburgh? Look at you. Are you new? Mother, oh no, Mother Earth, I know who you are. You're near Pittsburgh? That's awesome. No, it's not a tooth. Do you have a toothache? Is that what you said? Oh, truth, if you have a toothache, that is the worst. You're just going to listen to some history to deprogram. Aw, well, you know what? It was a long day today. Yes, only a few 100 miles away. Look at that. Oh, truth, I hope you do not have a toothache. They suck. If you do, go smoke a lot of pot. That sucks. I'm sorry. And Casey, I hope your daughter fell back asleep. And thank you to all of my mods. You guys are amazing. And I appreciate all of you. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. At least those of you who 8:30 is a reasonable time. And then just know, for all of you replay crew, that you are just as important. You know what I mean? And I thank you and I appreciate you. Will you guys tell me where you're from in the comments too? Because I will look at it as I close everything up. I'm always curious to see where people are coming in from. And my YouTube analytics said that Canada is like the next biggest group of people that watch me. And I was like, get out of here. Oh, you were saying you hope I don't have a toothache? Bitch, I don't have a toothache. I have an earache. I promise. It's an earache. It's an earache. It hurts bad. It'll be alright. Alright, you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you. No. I know the difference. This is definitely an earache. I get them every now and then, and it hurts to even do what I just did, to smile. It hurts to smile. That's how you know. All right, now I'm just being dramatic. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you tomorrow at You just set your alarm. We'll have a fabulous night's sleep. Wait, your fam arrived at Germantown. Then they moved into Shenandoah Valley where they were... What? Wow. So I got my bachelor's in Germantown. That's where Philadelphia University is. I lived there for 4 years. And it's really only like 15 minutes from me. Maybe 20 now. Northeast Tennessee, but living in upstate South Carolina now. Nice. I don't have a heating pad. That's the problem. I was sleeping, you know what we do in the hood over here? We get an empty, like an empty alcohol bottle. Not like alcohol, like drinking alcohol, like rubbing alcohol. And you just make the water extremely hot. And then you pour water in it. And you lay on it. And that's what you do. And that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to see what happens. I also have eardrops. And I have antibiotics, but nothing seems to be working right now, so we'll see. Maybe I just need to get some sleep. See you all tomorrow. YouTube, definitely put in, because I want you to meet Dr. Schultz. Have you met Dr. Schultz yet? I know Truth and all of them have. She's really cool. I think you guys will like her. She's like the blue-haired version of me. Alright. I think I read all of the things. Alright, you guys. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really going to hang up this time because I'm tired. I love you all. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow at 8.